much better than this. The 60th edition of the Labor Day Classic between the Roughriders and the Rivals from Winnipeg in front of a sold-out Mosaic Stadium. The Riders own the head-to-head record in this game, but it's been all Blue Bombers as of late, winning 3 of their past 4. The teams are ready, the fans are ready, and of course, the panel is ready. Enoch Mwamba, Davis Sanchez, Milt Stegall, the first of 3 games on Labor Day weekend. There is something about Labor Day weekend. It is like Christmas right now in the CFL, Enoch.
It absolutely is. The excitement is through the roof right now, and I can't wait to see it because both of these teams are preparing. They're ready to go, but who is going to execute tonight is the question.
Yeah, fan bases care a lot about who wins this game. As a player, that gives us added pressure, which most of us like.
As Kate mentioned, it's like Christmas, but only one of these teams is going to be opening up presents when they wake up in the morning. So it's going to be an exciting game. Not only this game, but the entire weekend is something we all look forward to.
By the way, I just noticed this right now. Blue Bombers, Roughriders. This is where we're going for the game today?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, you are?
Yeah, I got the Riders.
You are.
It just happened like this, Kate.
No, absolutely. All right, as mentioned, Mosaic sold out for this one before kickoff. Let's get you to field level for a pre-game ceremony.
Petty Officer Second Class Cindy Hodchuck. Please join Petty Officer Hodchuck in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Qu'à ton bras c'est porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Let's hear it, fans, for Petty Officer Second Class Cindy Hodchuck.
Another chapter ready to be written in the Labor Day Classic between the Blue Bombers and the Roughriders. Rod Smith and Glenn Suter with the call next. Brian Shuchuk of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 Million Touchdown to Win. If a kickoff is returned for a touchdown, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 kickoffs are returned for touchdowns in this game, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Brian, and what a day to do it. Let's get you to Mosaic and join Rod Smith and Glenn Suter.
Thank you, Kate, and happy holiday weekend, Canada. This has been the scene all week. City Hall in Regina, and proudly displaying that Rider flag. And Bomber fans know how to stir it up, don't they? Friends don't like friends wear green. Yeah, Winnipeg has arrived. It's the 60th Labor Day Classic between the Blue Bombers and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Glenn Suter, you've been through a few of these as a broadcaster and as a player. You know what it means. And each team is led by 2-star veteran quarterbacks who got their start in the CFL together with the Argos back in 2012.
Yeah, 2 veteran quarterbacks in the Classic here tonight for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. QB1, Zach Collaros is 4-4 as a starter this year, but 7-1 on the Labor Day weekend. Saskatchewan's Trevor Harris, 7-2 on the season, but his record versus the Bombers all time, 4-10. But it's Labor Day weekend. Throw the win-loss records out the window. This game will be physical and intense.
It is Corey Mace's second Labor Day Classic with Saskatchewan, losing on the final play here a year ago for Mike O'Shea, a veteran of many Labor Day Classics, both as head coach in Winnipeg and as a player in both Toronto and Hamilton. He knew both sides of that one as well. The Roughriders won the toss, and they have deferred. And so the Blue Bombers will get the ball first. They've won 3 of the last 4 Labor Day Classics. And now, baby. With Fans here treated to another CF-18 flyover to get things started. There's Peyton Logan in his second game in blue and gold, the former Stampeder, finally getting his start last week in Montreal for the kick return. And for Brett Lother to get it underway, Michael Chrisike back there as well. These games have been close. Something about the Bombers and the Riders on Labor Day. And on the return, it's Logan across the 20, and he's hit hard right at the 25, coming in on special teams. And Zach Collaros will be coming on. A former Rough Rider quarterback, by the way, won a Labor Day Classic against Winnipeg in 2018, but he's been quite the story with the Blue Bombers.
Well, mentioned the 7-1 record on Labor Day weekend for Zach Collaros. That's the best of any quarterback tied in the CFL's history. And when you look at his record against Saskatchewan, pretty good there, too, at 13-5.
Collaros last week in Montreal, 27-31 for 263, one touchdown pass, no picks. And he's climbing up the charts of the all-time passing leaders as well. Here we go, first down, little play fake. He has time over the middle. It's caught as well as they welcome back Dalton Schoen, who has been out since week 5. He's missed 6 games because of a knee injury. Definitely glad to have their veteran receiver back in the line.
Saskatchewan number 1. That penalty is declined. First down.
That was C.J. Rivas coming on the blitz. He was offside ahead of the jump of the snap count, so the play will stand to get things started for the Bombers. Everyone keying in on the running back situation. Zach goes to the play action, gets Dalton Schoen, who's returning from the injury list for his first game back. Involved early.
Because of injuries, he played only 3 games last year, only 4 this year. Game 5 for him, and a first down for Winnipeg across the 45. There's Brady Oliveira, and Malik Carney greets him. Takes him down for a loss on the play. You know that Rider defense will be keying on number 20.
227 starts for Stanley Bryant at left tackle, most of which with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 8-time All-Canadian in CFL history. There's Dalton Schoen, just mentioned. He returns to the starting lineup, and it's good timing with Jarrett Stearns out due to injury. So they get one of the primary targets back for Zach Collaros.
We've wondered about Nick Dembski, who got injured last week in Montreal, but he's back in the lineup on the field now in a second and long for Collaros. With time, steps up, completes it too, but only to the 50 on that second down play. Not nearly enough for a first down. That is completed to Dylan Mitchell in his first year with the Blue Bombers, so Winnipeg will have to punt.
Yeah, not the target I don't think that Zach Collaros wanted on that second down conversion. That was the check down look over the middle, but the pressure was collapsing the pocket. Speaking of guys returning, Mario Alford back in the return game for the Riders.
Back after missing several games with a hip injury, and Dante Myers joining him as 2 go back for this punt by Jamison Sheehan, who is standing at the Winnipeg 37. Riders and Trevor Harris awaiting getting the football for the first time in this Labor Day Classic. Sheehan getting it away. End over end punt coming down for Alford. And right out of bounds, too. He touched it just as it was heading out, and a flag comes out for it going out of bounds in the air outside the 15. Advantage Saskatchewan there. Trevor Harris to come on. Another Labor Day Classic. A tradition here in Regina before the Labor Day game. Thousands of fans turn up to see their stars and get an autograph as well.
Yeah, part of the tradition of the Labor Day weekend game is to have the fans get up close and say hi to the players, the coaching staff. Thousands showed up, and the number 1 guy on the list and the longest line was, guess who? The QB, Trevor Harris,
who is number 14th all time and climbing the ladder as well in passing yardage. He hands off to A.J. Olette. Big bruising running back, 3rd of the CFL in rushing. Picks up about 5 yards for a second down coming up.
7-2 on the season for Trevor Harris. Missed the 1 game that Jake Mayer went out and played for him as in the number 2 spot, but 7-2, coming off the loss to Calgary, and Trevor told us this week that the offense needs to be better than they were in the second half of that game.
That was his least productive game so far this season. He's averaging almost 300 yards passing per game. Call it a gain of 4 and a 2nd and 6 for Harris. Looking off to his left, and he completes a 2 and a first down. That is Tommy Neild in his first year with the Roughriders, picking it up as the sticks move. They get up near the 45.
Tommy Neild filling in nicely for Sam Emilus as he's close to coming off the injured list for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But in the meantime, Tommy Neild, veteran, 5 years in the Canadian Football League, has chipped in a big way.
Had a couple of touchdown catches since being activated and had 4 for 35 last week at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Up to the 44 and a 2nd down, or first down, I should say, for the Riders. Back to Ouellette. His 2nd carry as he picks up 2-3 more. Michael Griffin in on the tackle along with Kyrie Wilson.
Well, we showed you Stanley Bryant in the intros of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers offense. How about his former teammate Jamarcus Hardrick? Again, another well-decorated offensive lineman and former All-Star. First Labor Day game as a Rider in 2015. More on that as the game goes on. Keyshawn Johnson back-to-back 100-yard games for Saskatchewan.
And because Hardrick was injured last year, couldn't face his old teammates, his first time against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, where he played for so many years. 2nd down now. Harris, little pump fake with time, getting chased now by James Waters. And Cam Lawson, and eventually throws it away on that 2nd down play. And so 3rd coming up, and that's it for this drive for Saskatchewan, as Joe Couch will come on to kick it away.
Well, that's a play by the secondary for the Bombers. I mean, they made that play because Trevor Harris had tons of time initially standing in the pocket, going through his progressions, didn't see anything he liked, didn't see an open receiver, and decided to just throw that out of bounds.
Joe Couch back at his 34. It's Trey Vavel emerging as really good returner for Winnipeg this year. Couple of returns, 4 touchdowns in a game against Toronto back in week 9. Their high end over end punt and sailing out of bounds in the air. And was it inside the 15? No, it looks like this will be a flag indeed around the 20.
See, both of these punters are aware of the return possibility.
Worried about Mario Alford, worried about Vavel, and hey, worried about Mike O'Shea. Didn't have the catch of the Heron pass. We'll be back. It was nearly 10 years ago to the day that we first saw this quarterback matchup. Trevor Harris suits with the Argos then up against Zach Collaros, and they were victorious. The Hamilton Tiger Cats won by 30.
Well, when you consider that that was early in both of those quarterbacks' journeys, now all these years later they're going head-to-head again as the starter in Saskatchewan, the starter in Winnipeg, and climbing up the all-time list as they do it, too.
Well, it's interesting. Both could move up today. Collaros, 17th all-time. Harris, 13th. Under pressure is Collaros now coming in. A.J. Allen nearly got him and throws it off to the sideline for Nick Dembski. But no, just heading out of bounds.
We'll talk to Zach Collaros about the starting defense he's facing in Saskatchewan. He mentioned Mike Rose before we brought up his name. He said when they added Mike Rose, that just solidified that defensive line, and they are very good. Their leading tackler here in Sask is Jameer Thurman at 55 defensive tackles. And then in the back end, you have Roland Milligan, who's tied for the league lead in interceptions. That's not a surprise. Big start for Jackson Ford at safety. Grandson of Alan Ford, a Rider great.
2nd down and 10 now after the incompletion. Collaros facing the heat, and down he goes. Malik Carney adds to his sack total. That D-line a force to be reckoned with, and they rear their ugly head there for the Bombers. 5th sack of the season for Carney.
They can move him around. Malik Carney is usually the defensive end, but this time he's inside at the defensive tackle spot, and he makes an inside move right there on Patrick Neufeld, it looked like. Just an inside step, nice swim move, and gets right to Collaros before he can even go to that second progression.
Jamison Sheehan, first time out. His punt went out of bounds outside the 15. It was a penalty, as Suits talked about. They're very conscious of the returners. Alford back. And it is heading his way. Right inside the 30 for Saskatchewan. Mario Alford on his first return since coming back, missing several games with a hip injury. Malik Carney on a D-line that's really been racking up the sacks. 0-0 in this Labor Day Classic first quarter.
Here comes the rush. Glenn over the middle. Stiegel has it! Oh my goodness, what a catch! Touchdown Winnipeg! That is incredible.
That was spectacular.
That got style points.
Oh, the incomparable Milt Stiegel with more touchdowns in the Labor Day Classic than anyone in history. And this the 60th Labor Day Classic between these two teams.
Yeah, and Milt, that was all my idea, so you could make the check out to, no, I'm kidding, of course. But, yeah, you know what happens in the Labor Day Classic? The best players on your team level up.
The guy who can level up and square those shoulders, and A.J. Ouellette on that first down. Another good carry as they try to establish a ground game. A second and short coming up here for the Riders.
Speaking of guys that can level up in a heartbeat, how about Willie Jefferson, who leads the league again? No shocker there, no surprise with 11 knockdowns. Michael Griffin will start at that cover linebacker for Retta Cramdy in the linebacking core. And back in the back end, Evan Holm is tied with Milligan to lead the league in interceptions. They start Cam Allen at safety.
Gain is 7 by Ouellette. Second and 3 Riders. Second possession. Scoreless tie early. Throwing. Knocked away. Hands get up. You talked about Willie Jefferson, a different player this time. Reaching up, it's the weak side linebacker Kyrie Wilson who knocks it away and forces a third down.
Remember the big plays in the Grey Cups for Kyrie Wilson? I mean, you think back to the 2 championship games for this player in 2019, 2021. Back-to-back games. He made big plays in those games nearing the end of them to get the wins for Winnipeg.
So Trey Babel is back again. Second punt of the day for Joe Couch. Babel from the 20. Breaks through. Up the middle. Found something there across the 35 before the Riders on special teams push him back.
You heard
Milt Stiegel and what he's done.
Yeah, there's what you mentioned, the total touchdowns on Labor Day in the Classics, and no one has more in the history of the league than our buddy Milt. Looks pretty sweet in that picture too, doesn't he? Tuck the ball under your arm though, Milt. You gotta put that ball away. Some safety's gonna come downhill.
Milton likes his style points too.
Oh, you got it.
He'll be pleased with that little graphic selection there. A couple of hands on the ball. Down the end zone alive. No one's found it yet. Halfway through the first quarter. 0-0. Third possession Winnipeg now. Crowd picking up. Claris throwing to his right. It's caught by Kevin Clarcias. Big Clarcias with his first catch in this game, getting it up to about the 39.
Now, visiting teams going into Winnipeg over the last couple of years now know what this feels like, but when you're the visiting team on Labor Day, especially here in Saskatchewan, you're going to lose the snap count offensively. What that means is the offense has the edge to start the play because they know the snap count, they know when to go when they hear that from their quarterback. You lose that when the crowd's going nuts like they are before the snap, so you have to look as a receiver into the line of scrimmage and see the ball move before you can go ahead and hit your route.
So here we go in a second and 7. It's on Oliveira. He takes it. Big day against the Alouettes last week. His best game of the season so far. That one, though, not quite enough for a first down as the punting unit will come on again.
Now, that's what will happen in the Banjo Bowl down the road here in the next game in Winnipeg for the Riders, and they'll have to deal with it. But Zach will motion with his hands to start the pre-snap motion, and then the rest of the players, including the tackles on the offensive line, will have to look in at the ball, not at the player that they're going to block. That split second can be a difference maker.
This time just one returner back for Saskatchewan. It is Mario Alford, back after missing 5 games. Jamison Sheehan to punt it away again, standing at his 30. Still no points on the board. Sends this one to the left, and a good punt by Sheehan. Back inside the 15 for Alford, and can get up to about the 25 and no further. With Connor Shea in on the tackle and the punt coverage for Winnipeg. Something about these teams, something about this day.
We were born to be wild. We can climb.
For years, they were bookend tackles on the Bomber offensive line. Jamarcus Hardrick, as mentioned, facing his old team and his old friend for the first time. Let's head down to Britt Dort.
Yeah, and Roddy actually got emotional yesterday when I asked him about Stanley Bryant. The two said the same thing. We are brothers. They actually still text each other after every single game. I don't know about this one. Talk about ways they can improve. Now, Hardrick told me when he first became a Bomber, it was Bryant who was the only one who was transparent with him, who would tell him when he messed up, how he needed to be better. And he said, I used to have this mean kind of go-to for myself, and I wasn't lightening up until I learned what it took to be a pro. And boy, do we see Hardrick lighten up, because his common celebration when something big happens is to pick up his teammates. We've seen it with both Zach Collaros and Trevor Harris. I asked Corey Mace, is there anybody he can't pick up? And Corey Mace said, all I tell him is stay away from me.
Thank you, Brett. Hardrick was, as the Bombers said, the juice, the energy of the Winnipeg team when he was there. Now against them with the Riders now, and handing off to A.J. Ouellette again. Another carry for Ouellette as he gets that up to about the 29.
So for Jamarcus Hardrick, as Britt just mentioned, Stanley Bryant is like big brother, but also a family member is Willie Jefferson, a guy that was there when his kids were born, has been a great teammate and family friend. Like, they consider each other family. And in fact, Jamarcus had to say, you know, I've got to take the name tag off and the number and the identification, just play an opponent. It's going to be difficult.
As Britt talked about, this is emotional for him. Yeah. These are very, very close friends. 2nd and 6. That is caught across the 40. And that is a first down for the Riders. That's Keyshawn Johnson with his first catch.
Yeah, Keyshawn Johnson, as I mentioned in the intros, has been very active, over 100 yards in back-to-back games, including that loss to Calgary last week. And Jamarcus Hardrick not facing his old buddy Willie Jefferson this time, but doing his job, shutting down any rush off the edge from Vaughters.
And with that, he's over 800 yards receiving this season, too. The Riders' leading receiver in yardage. Harris quickly again to the right, and right back to Johnson. Not a first down, but another good pickup on first across the 45.
I asked Jamarcus Hardrick about protecting Trevor Harris, and to help me explain to the fan how much they are committed, those guys up front, and how much they care about keeping that quarterback, especially one that is like fine wine in his late 30s. And he said, think of it this way. It's like you're protecting your own kids back there.
Takes it very personally. See any kind of pressure on his quarterback. Jamarcus Hardrick, the right tackle. We go in a 2nd and 3 after that 7-yard pickup to Johnson. Ouellette is going nowhere. Wrapped up and greeted. James Vaughters is there to say hello in the Rider backfield as they lose yardage and a 3rd down coming up.
Yeah, they'll move around just like we saw from the Rider D-line. They will move around the Bomber defense and put their defense line. Sometimes Jefferson will come off the edge. Sometimes Vaughters will move into the middle and run one of those stunts with the linebacker. He goes right down Main Street to stop A.J. Ouellette in his tracks before he got started.
Getting late in the first quarter, still no points on the board in this Labor Day Classic. In 5 of the last 6 years, these games have gone down to the final 3 minutes between the Riders and the Bombers. This the 60th Labor Day showdown between the two. The punt from Joe Couch. Trey Vallow takes it at about the 17. Hesitates. Wants to go left. He has to backtrack. Finds some room, but a good tackle there coming in is Jaden Dalkey, the special teams tackle. So Collaros will be back on. They're inside their 20 to start. Corey Mace, another Labor Day Classic as a head coach, but Suits, his first game as a player with the Calgary Stampeders was in the Labor Day Classic in Calgary against Edmonton.
Can you imagine? That's your first game, that level of intensity. Corey Mace getting after it from that defensive line interior position. That little push, by the way, is a penalty now, Coach, so you have to be careful with that. But very first game in Canadian football on Labor Day.
And he was saying this week to fans, once you've experienced a Labor Day, for him, fan or as a player, you're hooked. time and ended up going off a Rider helmet. Tavon Campbell was in there with Roland Milligan and just couldn't get it there in time because Wheatfall was open.
Well, this is Tavon Campbell's superpower because Zach Collaros has an open receiver deep. And he wants to go over the top here, and it looks like he has a guy. You can see wide open on the outside is Wheatfall, but Tavon Campbell's superpower is his ability to close. He can make up 5 to 10 yards in a blink, and he did it on that play to get the knockdown.
Brilliant with his right hand, not his helmet. Great play there by Campbell closing to break that one up. Second down, Collaros. Deeper route again, and this time it is complete. Nick Dembski, who now has a catch in 82 straight games, the active leader in the CFL, and that's a big first down for Winnipeg.
Yeah, it is, and the safety, Jackson Ford, stumbles on it. But we talked to Zach Collaros about his #1 target in Nick Dembski to the right of your screen, going right down that seam. And this is what he said. He's our best player.
Yeah.
He said Nick Dembski is our best football player.
Didn't even hesitate about it.
Didn't hesitate and said he's our MVP on offense and he's our best player.
Well, he had 4 catches for 25 yards only before getting hurt in Montreal, and one was a touchdown to help them in that victory over the Alouettes. Glad to see that he's able to play the Bombers are in this big Labor Day game. So here comes Winnipeg. Another deep shot to the right. Clarcius, Kenny Lawler style, got turned around and comes down with the football inside the Rider 10.
Ember Clarcius comes through on the deep ball, and it was a Lawler-like catch. I mean, laying out, going backwards. Collaros gives him a chance. He's well covered down there by Marcus Sales, but he says, I trust my big, tall, wide receiver. He goes up and brings it down. What a catch.
What if he learned a thing or two from his old teammate?
I'm sure
they were
did.
Together for a couple of years. Kevin's Clarcius with the catch. And that gets them down to a 1st and goal. Winnipeg, shovel pass. Oliver Dembski at the 5. Nick Dembski, taking that one. Coming inside and gets it down just within the 5-yard line. To put a little exclamation mark on the end of the first quarter. Still no points, but Winnipeg is threatening.
What a catch by Clarcius.
Kevin's Clarcius in his 2nd year at a Yukon. The Montreal native. Biggest play for the Bombers on offense so far in this game. Has them in business as the 2nd quarter of the Labor Day Classic is about to begin. Through 1 quarter of the 60th Labor Day Classic between the Bombers and Riders, we still don't have a point, although that big play to set up Winnipeg has them very close to start the 2nd.
Weird, Rod, how jacked I am, and we haven't seen a point scored yet in this game, but, you know, both teams, it's a different game in the regular season like we've talked about in this first quarter and in the pregame show, but both the teams have sort of strayed away from their regular game plan. Both these teams offensively like to start out by establishing the run, and we haven't seen a lot of Brady Oliveira yet or A.J. Ouellette. He's got a couple of touches in this one in this first quarter, but teams like to establish that run game.
Well, the 2nd quarter begins with a 2nd down and goal at the 5. And you're right, no points, but the energy in this stadium with the sellout crowd at Mosaic. Winnipeg and Chris Streveler's in at quarterback now in the 2nd and goal play. Trying to diffuse some of that crowd now and get the first points on the board. Streveler at QB. Standing under center. Handing off Oliveira. Touchdown Winnipeg. Now we have some points. And it's the visitors who get it started.
Well, the strategy by bringing in Chris Streveler is to bring in and run sort of a veer-style run-oriented offense. They've got the fullback in Chris Ike in there and Brady Oliveira, so you've got some extra blocking. You can either go with that type of play, straight handoff off the left side if you're Winnipeg, or you can pull it and you have big Chris Streveler running around the edge as a running quarterback. So Different strategy down there inside the 10, but it worked.
Second quarter begins with a Winnipeg touchdown and the point after from Sergio Castillo. So the Bombers, who've won 3 of the last 4 Labor Day Classics, take the initiative in this one. One in a 5-play, 92-yard drive.
Get in the big extra offensive line in there, and Tui Ellie, and good kick-out block. Brady Oliveira punches it in, but Zach Collaros was slinging it deep in this drive. I mean, he goes down the seam to Dembski. A little bit of a stumble there from Jackson Ford. Couldn't get to that seam route. The great Clercius catch on the sideline with coverage all over him. Add in that little fly sweep there to Dembski and then finish it with the run.
The run in by Brady Oliveira now is 3 on the season after a slow start in terms of scoring touchdowns. Said coming off his best game against the Alouettes in Montreal. And you talked about him slinging deep. Then before that, there was the attempt to weak fall. He was open for a moment before Tavon Campbell broke up that play. He's been throwing it downfield.
Well, that's what a veteran quarterback will do. I mean, just because one got knocked down doesn't mean he's not going to trust his receivers to make the big catch, and Kevin's Clercius comes through.
And with that drive, Collaros is now 15th all-time in passing yardage. He passed both Michael Riley and Dieter Brock, once a great quarterback for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, to move up 2 notches, standing behind Trevor Harris, who's trying to pass Kent Austin today. Here's Mary Alford on the return. First game back in a while, and a good return. So he gets that one up across the 35, close to the 40.
Here's what you were talking about in the all-time list for Zach Collaros, who passes Michael Riley.
Return, holding Saskatchewan number 28. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And a former Bomber great in Dieter Brock, also played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
You played against him, didn't you?
I remember playing against the guy with a rocket arm that could throw it through a brick wall in Dieter Brock. But congrats to Zach Collaros, moving up the all-time list.
And chasing Trevor Harris, who passed those 2 earlier this season in the same game. As mentioned, Harris came in 187 yards shy of Kent Austin, former great quarterback here in Saskatchewan, for 13th in the all-time list. We'll keep tabs on that as well. Harris and the Riders with the ball. They're down 7 now. On the first down, ball comes out! Bombers have it! Big turnover, Tony Jones takes that gift after Winnipeg knocked it out of the hands of Trevor Harris, and Winnipeg in business again with the touchdown lead, looking for more.
Tony Jones been all over the field, and the leader of this defense from the middle linebacker spot. 68 defensive tackles. He's going to cover down on A.J. Ouellette. Then he gets in there and scoops the ball to get the recovery. See who? Big push up front. And a power rush. Is that Cam Lawson with the big push? And the bull rush on Jamarcus Hardrick. Right into the lap of Trevor Harris. Fumble comes out. Don't think the arm was going forward. Doesn't look like it was. They rule it's a fumble. Bomber ball.
Streveler back in at quarterback now. This time a 1st and goal at the 5. Handing off to Oliveira again. Last time they did this, it wound up going into the end zone for a touchdown just a few plays ago. This time he picks up a couple. And there's Tony Jones. We've talked about him before. What a job he's done filling in at middle linebacker after the injury to Adam Bighill, ultimately taking over and filling some very big shoes.
Well, in the last 2 wins, Ottawa and Montreal, Tony Jones has recorded 20 defensive tackles. It's a big fumble recovery and a chance to go up 2 possessions early in this classic.
Down to the 3, 2nd and goal. Looking to really break open the lead now, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Out of shotgun. Keeping it. Streveler can't get there. They got him wrapped up. He might have got a yard, and that's it. Fake the handoff to Oliveira, and Streveler tried to take it in himself, and instead is denied with a 3rd and goal coming up.
That was a great play by Jameer Thurman. These middle linebackers stepping up when they have to on this 2nd down play. He plays to Brady Oliveira first and then gets back outside to help out on the tackle on Streveler. So he takes the fullback's block, hustles over And with Malik Carney, gets the stop.
And Mike O'Shea taking no chances on this 3rd and goal. Sergio Castillo in the field goal unit has come on. They want the points. They want a 2-score game here in this Labor Day Classic and not give the Rider defense a chance for a big momentum swing in a goal line stand. So Castillo, 28 of 31, over 90%, and a short one for him. Known for his long field goal kicks, has a short one to put 3 more on the board. 3 off the turnover. 10-0. Bombers lead. Back at Mosaic, Rod Smith, Glenn Suter, Britt Dort here in the Labor Day Classic, which is being led right now by the visiting Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 10-0. The field goal by Castillo after the fumble by Trevor Harris, setting up a 1st and goal for the Bombers. Harris back in there now, swinging it off to the left. That's a Joe and Joe back with the Riders. He was a rookie last year, got a lot of attention, couple of touchdowns, went and tried the NFL with Indianapolis, and this is first game back and getting a nice cheer from the crowd.
Well, his best game last year when he became a real fan favorite was against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers back in July when he had over 100 yards receiving. A big, strong, 6'3", 211-pound slot back. Just got back a couple of days ago.
From Brooks, Alberta, Joe gains 5 yards on that pass from Harris, changing up the ball now in the 2nd down play at the 45. 4-man rush with time, and no, nearly into the hands of Tommy Neal, but good coverage there. That's Cam Allen, the safety, getting the start again in the Winnipeg secondary. Breaks that up. 3rd and 5 coming up.
Boy, that was a tight window that Trevor Harris tried to fit that ball in. There were 3 Bomber defenders all over that. And it was Allen who timed up the hit and was bang on with that to separate the ball from the receiver and Tommy Neal.
So that Rider possession stalls. Joe Couch on to punt it again. Bombers with a 10-point lead here in the 2nd quarter. This Labor Day Classic with Trey Babel back at the 15. And the whistle blows.
See who moved first here, because they're 3rd and 5. They can. Now, I'm not sure if they're doing it right at this minute, but they can get help from the replay center on this.
In real time. Yeah. It's against Winnipeg.
Defensive offside. Winnipeg number 5. A 5-yard penalty will result in a 1st down.
As announced by the referee Andre Prue. So there you go. A costly penalty, Winnipeg, as Saskatchewan's offense comes back onto the field.
From head coach Michael O'Shea about game situations. 3rd and 5. Be a second late is better than trying to anticipate the snap count.
Trevor Harris 4 for 7 for 33 yards. That's it here in the 2nd quarter. And handing off, trying to get A.J. Ouellette going again as he pushes his way up to just across the 52.
You know, I'm looking at Dante Myers now taking a page. I think the Riders offense and Trevor Harris need to take a page out of Zach Collaros' book and maybe push the ball deep a couple of times just to loosen things up here, whether they complete it or not. And Dante Myers has been their guy in that regard. 8 big explosives on the season, which is in the top 5 in the league. So he can get over top of the defense in a hurry, and maybe just throwing a couple up to him loosen things up.
Myers, their biggest play receiver. Keyshawn Johnson, too.
Yep.
Who can make some big catches, and he has the biggest catch so far of 12 yards. That's it for this Rider offense so far in this one. Over 10 minutes to go. It is Tanner Schmeckel, defensive lineman for the Blue Bombers, who is the injured player, getting some attention down in the field here at Mosaic. This weekend only, scan the QR promo code on screen to get Crave starting at $3.99 a month for your first 3 months and stream the biggest blockbuster movies, hit series, and HBO exclusives all in one place. Crave, proudly Canadian. Here in the second quarter, Riders with the football. They have a second down and long right now. They're in a 10-point hole at their 52-yard line. Touchdown by Brady Oliveira, and then after a fumble deep in their zone led to a Castillo field goal. So here we go, Saskatchewan. Four-man rush, pump fake, gets outside, Harris throwing. Oh, nearly a brilliant catch by Johnson, trying to one-hand it, thrown behind him, but can't bring it down. And there you go, another third down now for the Riders.
Well, this time Harris is going to feel like he can get outside with the option to either run or throw it. I think he just put a little bit of heat, and this was behind Keyshawn Johnson throwing on the run. And he's number 2 receiver coming out of that slot back spot. Bang route inside, back to the outside, and in behind him and a little high.
That falls to the turf. Joe Couch is back on. Trey Vavel is back at his 5. Turning into a good first half for the Blue Bombers, led by their defense. Forcing that turnover deep before, led to some points. Vavel. He's tripped up around the 20 and still running around, and then goes back and gets tackled there by Jackson Ford. So here's Zach Collaros, a veteran of the Labor Day Classic, and has the most wins, tied with Bo Levi Mitchell. Little breakdown of that 7-1 record.
Yeah, how about that? Now, you know, what's weird about that is, to me, is that now 66.9 completion percentage, that's low compared to what the quarterback.
By today's standards.
By today's standards, the quarterbacks are like well over 70 now all of a sudden. But, yeah, great numbers. Of course, the win-loss record is what matters most.
Out of those 7, so 3-0 with the Ticats. We had highlights of one against Trevor Harris and the Argos in 15. So he won 3 with Hamilton, and he's won 3 with Winnipeg, and that other win with Saskatchewan here against the Blue Bombers in 2018 on that carry on 1st and 10, and that was Peyton Logan. You'll see him on special teams. You also see him at running back in relief of Brady Oliveira, but going nowhere there.
Well, this is the opportunity for the Riders to give their offense a chance on this second and long. Second and more than 10. And the volume here at Mosaic will be turned up a couple of notches.
Crowd picking up now here at Mosaic. Capacity crowd. Just standing room for this Labor Day Classic. On the 2nd and 12. Collaros, they've got him again. Ball comes out. And who's got it? They short it out. What a big turnover this would be for the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Malik Kearney. Turnabout's fair play. This time, Collaros coughs it up. And the Riders make him pay.
Malik Kearney, the second time they've moved him into that defensive tackle spot, and again he is going out and around. This time it's Gabe Wallace. Great swim move to get to Zach Collaros before he has a chance to even set his feet and throw this one. Ball comes out, arm wasn't moving forward. The Riders get their turn at a deep turnover.
He already added to his sack total earlier. They're inside the 10. It's a 1st and goal now. What can the Riders do with it? Looking for their first points. Up this Labor Day Classic. Harris. Go left. Cuts it back into the end zone. Uncontested. Touchdown, Saskatchewan.
Great cutback and vision from A.J. Ouellette here. The play is designed to go to the short side of the field. He puts the brakes on, sees the wash down from that offensive line. He bounces it back to the right and hits pay dirt.
And more points off turnovers. Bombers got a field goal when they forced the fumble in Trevor Harris. Malik Kearney forces it on Collaros, and right away they cash in with a touchdown with a point after try from A new dad, Brett Roethlisberger. Malik Kearney having himself a Labor Day Classic to set this up. Olette. We got a classic brewing.
When the Bombers got their turnover, it was Cam Lawson with the big push. This time, Hardrick decides to wash down Lawson to make sure he can't get in the backfield on this run. Big block right here as he pushes and washes that whole defensive line. Hardrick at the right tackle, closing it down so that A.J. Olette can bounce off that block and get it into the end zone.
Emotional game for Hardrick against his old team for the first time as A.J. gives him his props, too. That block that helped open things up for the Olette touchdown. Now a 10-7 game. Bates Logan on this kick return across the 20 to the 30. Logan gets across the 35 with a flag coming out on that return. Let's head back to Britt North.
Well, you know how important it is to win on Labor Day, and Trevor Harris couldn't go anywhere this week without people recognizing him. And one of his fan interactions that stood out was one who told him, "We don't care if you lose every game to finish off the season. You have to win Labor Day." And he said, "Well, that would put us at a 9-9 record. I'm not sure how I feel about that." Jamarcus Hardrick, who we mentioned before, had a small stint with Saskatchewan in 2015. He came in for his first game Labor Day. They were 0-8. He said, "You would have thought we were 8-0. Because the fans love the fact that they just got their first win of the season on Labor Day. And guys, you talked to Zach Collaros this week, who has a 7-1 record as a starter in Labor Day. And what was the first thing he pointed out as a pro athlete? The one loss, not even the 7 wins.
Oh, Brett, yeah, it's not the wins that stick with you. It's those losses.
Well, what's amazing about this is she mentioned that the record back in 2015, they had not won a game.
They were 0-9.
And they beat the Bombers on that day. That's what Labor Day has happened so many times. I mean, the Bombers have won 22 times in the last 59. 20 of them, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers had the better record.
Right.
And didn't win.
Just goes to show.
I mean, and then you say that, and over the last 4 years, they've won 3 of the 4.
Yeah. I mean, and hey, they both want to win. Let's not kid ourselves. But when it comes to this day, there is something special about it. And, and Jamarcus Hardrick, Britt was alluding to the fact that people may forget that Hardrick, he started in BC, but really got going and with the Saskatchewan Roughriders for a year before going on to Winnipeg, where his career really flourished. And Hardrick was the one pointing that out, too. Geez, we were 0-9 in that game, and it was like it was a championship. Couldn't get over the atmosphere at old Taylor Field, Mosaic, the original Mosaic Stadium.
Yeah, that's what you think. You come into this thinking, everyone's talking like Trevor Harris went through, as Britt mentioned, going through the city early in the week. Usually around game day, you get that here in Saskatchewan for sure. Definitely in Winnipeg on game day. But when it's the Labor Day weekend, you get it at the beginning of the week. You get it all week. And that's what the fans are saying. And Hardrick is telling us, they're telling me that I only have to win one game as a Rider, and it's this one. And I'm not sure what that means. And then he played in it.
Yeah.
And he went, oh, I get it.
They figured it out then.
Yeah.
Why it matters so much. A penalty on the return against Winnipeg. And that return by Logan pushes him back to the 18 now. Corey Mace's Riders, his second season as the head coach in Saskatchewan, lost a close one to the Bombers in the Labor Day Classic 1 year ago. First down, and off to Dempsey. And a catch earlier to extend his streak, and he pushes his way through against Devon Campbell there to pick up at least 5 more yards, set up the second down here for Winnipeg.
A lot of people have said about Nick Dembski that the reason that Zach Collaros loves him so much, the reason we talk about him as one of the best players in the league is because of how much he can do, the different things he can do. He's like that Swiss Army knife we hear all the time. But it's more than that for number 10. He does it so well. That's why he's the greatest, one of the great players in the league.
No question, and they give him 7 yards on that before he finally went out of bounds. So we got a 2nd and 3 coming up after the 7 more for Dembski. Handing off Olivera, first down and more, spinning and up across the 35. Winnipeg with a 3-point lead halfway through this second quarter on the move.
Patrick Neufeld, right side of the offensive line, right at that guard spot. Used to play all those years with Jamarcus Hardrick at right tackle. Now it's Kendall Randolph, who Mike O'Shea said has done an excellent job in replacing Hardrick at that spot.
That's Neufeld and Bryant. The throwbacks to when the offensive line, those championship years first brought together. They're still there. Off the fake for Logan. Can't hang on to it. Falls incomplete. And a second down coming up here for Winnipeg. Peyton Logan starting his CFL career, 3 seasons with the Calgary Stampeders before signing on with Winnipeg and got injured in training camp. Just made his Bomber debut last week in Montreal.
Yeah, big play player. You know, he can break it open. I mean, this is a guy that could turn it on and outrun angles. A little surprised that we've only seen 4 touches for Brady Oliveira at this point.
Oliveira, yeah, 4 carries for 16 yards, one of them being a 5-yard touchdown to start the second quarter. Under 6 minutes to go until halftime. Winnipeg football. Throwing again. Immediately hit. Roland Milligan was coming in there on that catch by Dalton Schoen. He hung on to the football, but down he goes, and a 3rd down coming up here for Winnipeg.
Dalton Schoen has great spatial awareness. That's one thing he brings to this offense, meaning he knows exactly where to sit down, and Milligan closes 10 yards to hold him short of the marker. I mean, that's the right throw. It's the right read. Dalton made the right decision to sit down there because Milligan was 10 yards away. He said, this is where the hole is, and Milligan closed that in a heartbeat.
Another great defensive play by last year's Defensive Player of the Year in the CFL, Roland Milligan. Mario Alford back for another punt return from Jamison Sheehan inside his 30. For the Riders, down 3, most recently with the ball, getting a touchdown off a turnover and about to get the football back. As the clock ticks, under 5 minutes until the end of the first half. This one heading left, takes a hop inside the 20, and picking it up is Alford. Picks up a block, a flag comes down as well as he goes out of bounds around the Winnipeg or Saskatchewan 23.
During the return, illegal block, Saskatchewan number 31, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Mentioned off the top, Willie Jefferson loves these games.
It's time to be the hero. Like you've never seen.
Loves Labor Day, too. Great graphics, by the way. John Perlberg and company.
Look at Gaynor.
Yeah. Well, and Gaynor used to know what Willie could do for the Riders. Remember, he had 3 years here as well. I remember him devastating the Bombers in Winnipeg in a Banjo Bowl game back in 2018. But what success that Willie Jefferson is leading, you know, in CFL history in knockdowns. And he had a couple last week against the Alouettes. What a nightmare he can be for opposing quarterbacks. Starting at the 8. And that's Mario Anderson getting his first carry. Works up for a couple of yards. Kyrie Wilson in on the tackle for Winnipeg.
These are the moments, though, that Willie Jefferson will make that play. And that's why I've been saying for years now, when you look at what he's done in the knockdown department alone, let alone the 80 career sacks that he's accumulated, but the 88 career knockdowns, he leads the league again this year with 11. And, you know, it's almost like you got a game plan away from a defensive lineman. I mean, that's rare.
Yeah.
It's rare to set your game plan trying to stay away from an end rusher.
Here we go on a 2nd and 7 now for Harris near his own end zone. And he gets him out of it on that play. Dante Myers turns around and picks up more. Finally taken down by Cam Allen. And great work after the catch for Myers to get him out of a jam there as they work it up across the 35.
Yeah, got to get Myers activated here, especially on those deep balls. This is an intermediate route. And first of all, the Riders up front to allow Trevor Harris to get that ball out of there to Myers. They double team number 5, Willie Jefferson. Get a couple of big bodies on him. Hardrick helps against his old buddy.
Gain at 24. Anderson still in at running back. It's thrown off to the left, and it is caught by Del Duncan Busby, who picks up about 5 more yards up around the 40 to set up a second down on Duncan Busby's first catch of the afternoon.
By the way, that's part of the game plan that we talked about. I mean, this is game planning offensively for Bramer, Jacob Bramer, and Jamarcus Hardrick to, if Willie Jefferson lines up at the defensive tackle spot. Now he's on the sideline for this play, but he lines up at that tackle. Get two big bodies on him.
8 from 6 across the 40 to the 41 now. 2nd and 4. Trevor Harris and the Riders down by 3. Late first half. Throwing here. And it's caught. And more. And heading into the end zone for the touchdown is Tommy Neal. One quick strike. And the Riders have the lead.
Timing on the throw, and Tommy Neal is going to, against a zone look on defense, is going to turn it into a man-to-man with a little inside cut that freezes Cam Allen, the safety. That allows 83 to get in behind him, and Trevor Harris hits him in stride.
69 yards for Tommy Neal. His 3rd touchdown catch of the season, his 1st with the Riders. The ex-Argo, Neal. Big catch and run from Trevor Harris, who has another touchdown pass. Saskatchewan is in front, 14-10.
It was all Blue Bombers to start, but now the Roughriders have come all the way back. I wonder what happens next.
Well, the great Nostradamus knows what happens next. What do you know, Chiz?
Stiegel had the greatness of the Labor Day Classic. We gave him that. Now he wants to be the great Nostradamus prognosticator. What will happen? Kate Bernice in the panel, I can tell you that. I got some thoughts on this one. Winnipeg, they were up 10. Now they're down 4. It's Peyton Logan. And a good tackle. Malik Straker coming in on special teams to take him down. Let's have another look at that touchdown. Tommy Neal from Trevor Harris.
Well, even if you're running against a zone look, and watch Tommy Neal work this so that Cam Allen commits. He's going down the seam, and he's making it look like he's going to run a dig across the middle, right at that center stripe. Now, to the right of your screen, you see the bend inside and the look. The right of your screen is Cam Allen, the safety. You see him now have to speed turn out of there, and now he's in trouble. His feet stop backpedaling. Neal is in behind him. If the throw's there, it's a touchdown. The throw was there. Neal takes it in.
Until that drive, Harris's biggest completion was 12 yards. Then he had a 24 to Myers, 69 yards to Tommy Neal. Starting to put it down the field. It pays off. They have the lead. Kalara's with the ball now. And now trying to set up Dembski on the screen, and it falls shy of his feet. So a 2nd and 10 coming up.
That might have been tipped on the throw. Looked like Zach Collaros was trying to almost point guard jump and pass this out. Shane Ray coming off that edge, and to get a piece of that.
Got a bit. Just a little bit, though.
Just a tip, knocked it down. Just
for Shane Ray in his first year with the Riders.
He's come on.
He really has.
Yep.
Great work on the defensive line of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 2nd down and 10. Kalara's steps up under the pressure. Micah Johnson chasing him down. Deep look down the right into coverage. Looking for Dembski, but 2 Riders were there as well to break that play up. And Winnipeg is looking at a 2-and-out. They'll have to punt it away.
Yeah, DeMarcus Fields and the safety Jackson Ford both converging on this. Collaros is way outside now. He sees the pocket start to get dented up front, so he bounces outside, and now he's just trying to lead his receiver into this. But coming off his coverage is DeMarcus Fields. He's elevating for the ball, just goes through his hands, and Jackson Ford involved as well.
2:18 on the clock until halftime. 2 returners back for the Riders inside the 30 for Jamison Sheehan. Saskatchewan has the momentum in this second quarter now, after the 10 points were quickly put on by Winnipeg. Alford with it. That cracks. Good coverage. Michael Griffin coming in and making sure he gets only a yard or two back inside the 30, where Harris and the Riders will come on to scrimmage again after their most successful possession.
7 of 11. 132 yards, a couple deeper throws. That one to Tommy Neal, obviously, but also that earlier throw to Deontay Myers. Deontay Myers on that dig route kind of loosened things up a little bit for Trevor Harris.
1st and 10, the Riders 27 in the 60th Labor Day Classic. Back in the hands of A.J. Ouellette. He cuts it back left. Ouellette, who had a touchdown earlier, the Rider TD, and it's Javian Woodby on the tackle for Winnipeg.
Yeah, you knew that both these offenses would eventually get to their running backs. A.J. Ouellette, and for the Bombers, of course, Brady Oliveira.
It's Mark Mueller, offensive coordinator for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
The other part when you start a game like this, though, when everyone's talking about containing the run and stopping the run, is to go play action early.
Empty backfield. Harris to Myers again. Well, ball comes out. Gobble is right there to greet him. And it's a 3rd down coming up on that incompletion. So a drop for Myers, and just like that, Saskatchewan will have to punt it back.
Trey Vavil's done a pretty good job starting at that corner spot for Terrell Bonds for the Bombers. 3rd start on defense. In that very first game against Ottawa, he was tested. Had 7 tackles in that game. He had a knockdown. Didn't really get beat. So.
And he'd already shown such value in special teams, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again on the returns, and despite his presence on the defense, he's still getting quite involved in the return game, and there fell down up around the 38 for Collaros to come up, see what else they can do before halftime, and we will head to the studio. Kate and Enoch and Chezzy and Milt Stegall as well. Some thoughts on this, and we got a doubleheader, of course. What a great time of year in the Canadian Football League. You got this rivalry, and then you have the Argos Ticats tomorrow, and you've got the Elks, who are really coming on, against the Calgary Stampeders, who, by the way, here the Stamps in second place. Not only have they beaten them, they're 5-0 collectively. 3-0 against Winnipeg, 2-0 against Saskatchewan. The only 2 losses for the Riders have been to the Stampeders. And they got a guy named Adam Bighill for the Stampeders tomorrow, of course. Legend for Winnipeg. Several seasons, thrown off to Oliveira right at the 39. Not much there.
Well, you know, when you think about this weekend, you know what comes to mind for me in the bigger picture? This is what is possible in our country with this game. You got 9 home games. You've got this one that's so intense. So great tradition.
The energy here, and I have never personally been to a Banjo Bowl, and I get to go do the rematch next week.
You'll love it.
I'm looking forward to that as well, but it is hard to match the intensity, the vibe you're getting here. In this sea of green, there is some blue sprinkled in as well. A lot of Bomber fans traveling well. Great passion. That's a high point catch, and a good one there for Dylan Mitchell, up right at midfield, still with 1:23 to go until halftime.
Yeah, Dylan Mitchell is going to move the chains and give the Bombers a chance to put some more points on the board before halftime. Really nice catch to go up and get it. As far as those Bombers that are traveling, I talked to someone in the hotel, a Bomber fan covered in blue, said that there were like 10 buses or something. And here's a little hint. If you're in Labor Day in Saskatchewan, don't get a hotel room beside the ice machine.
Sound advice, always, especially in these circumstances. There's Dalton Schoen in his first game back since back in early July, missing several games with a knee injury, and a welcome addition to that Bomber offense on the catch.
Not sure why the ice machine is so popular.
Just can't figure it out.
It's just weird.
Well, I believe Milt told me they used to, because they didn't want Rider fans to find out where the Bombers were staying, used to stay in Moose Jaw, didn't they?
Yeah.
Not getting close to Regina because fans found out the night before the game. They'd make sure they didn't sleep for the Labor Day Classic. 2nd and 6. Collaros quickly out. Caught by Mitchell again right around the first down marker. Fields right there with him to take him down. See where they spot the football now.
Well, they're almost in field goal range based on Sergio Castillo's performances this year. And his range this year, very little, if any, wind in Mosaic tonight. Beautiful, calm night here in Saskatchewan. So they're basically in field goal range now. He's made a 63-yarder this year.
Did that in Calgary. He's had a couple of 60s before. In fact, beyond 50 yards, he's 6 of 7.
Yeah.
And his only miss against Ottawa in Winnipeg was a 57-yard try that ended up being returned for a touchdown, but still, Castillo is about as money as you can get from outside the 50-yard line, but we're not thinking about that quite yet. We got 59 seconds still, as signaled by Andre Prue. It is indeed a first down secured by Dylan Mitchell.
No, absolutely not thinking about that yet. They've still got 59 seconds. I mean, there's time to run 4, 5, maybe 6 plays, but that checks the first box. Are we in field goal range yet? Because that's now, can change the play call. Slight.
Crowd of Mosaic really getting loud now. Silent count for Collaros. 4-man rush sets up a screen. Oliveira. Oh, he takes a hit. Jameer Thurman really got him, but credit Oliveira to spin off that and pick up a few more yards, get it down closer to the 35.
First of all, I love the call from Jason Hogan to go screen, knowing he's going to get some pressure in a big way from the Rider front 7. He's going to get some pressure, so he goes up. Silent count.
And they get him. Collaros taken down. Ali Saad, their first draft pick in 2025, gets himself a CFL sack on Zach Collaros, and a very timely one as well.
Down in that sprinter stance. Interior going up against Gabe Wallace. Just a bull rush until Zach tried to escape, and then he tracked him down from there.
Taken 4th overall in the 25 draft out of Bowling Green, Ali Saad with his first CFL sack. And so here we go. Back at the 50, the ball will be put down by Jamison Sheehan. A 50-yard try. 2 returners are back, including Mario Alpha. Dante Myers the other. To get closer. Late in the half, it's heading right. It is wide. Rare miss Castillo, and Myers breaks it out, and Tanner Cadwalader picked him up and threw him back into the end zone. Myers took it out. Cadwalader lifted him and put him back in.
Tanner Cadwalader, one of the best special teams players in a long time with the Bombers. A Cal Murphy Heart of a Legend award winner last year for his work on the special teams, because Myers may have had something if he got outside and around and got down to the sideline on that side of the field. He see big Cam Lawson there. He gets around this tackle. Now, they're going to put it on the 2-yard line and give him forward progress. The fact that he lands in the end zone.
So they did put it down. No safety awarded there, despite that play by Cadwalader to say to Myers, take a seat after he brings it out of the end zone.
10 special teams tackles this year. That was a big one. Don't allow any last few seconds before the half excitement here at Mosaic for the Riders.
And so that's it. Taking a knee. Trevor Harris, what an interesting first half. Took a while to get going. Then the points came. The first 10 for Winnipeg, and the next 14, for Saskatchewan, responding after being in a 10-point hole to get the next 14 points and a 4-point lead.
Both defenses playing pretty well. You'd think that first quarter, the Bomber defense took control, and then in the second quarter, the Saskatchewan front 4 got it going. 5th sack of the campaign for Malik Carney. Getting after number 8 in that first half.
Great pressure. 2 sacks and a forced fumble that set up a touchdown for Saskatchewan. And Malik Carney standing by now with Brett.
Malik, some massive defensive plays in those first 2 quarters, including one that helped put your team in scoring position. What do you make of what you've been able to do out there?
It's not me, it's the team. You know, we all rush together. We preach physicality, being relentless in our rush, and just making a havoc for the offense to get their plays off.
Still a close game out there, and knowing that it could come down to the final plays, what's important in the final 2 quarters?
Just being us. Just continue to be who we are. Just making turnovers, making it hard for the offense to do what they got to do, and again, just being who we are.
Thanks so much, Malik.
All right, thanks.
All right, Kate, we'll send it off to you and the panel.
All right, Britt, we've got ourselves a football game, 4-point game to be exact. Back alongside Enoch Mwamba, Davis Sanchez, Milt Stegall, and Malik Carney may not want to talk about himself. He wants to talk about his team. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to talk about him individually. Why not? Malik Carney, 2 sacks, 3 tackles, 1 forced fumble already in this game. And Milt, when the Bombers were up by 10, it was the Saskatchewan defense that turned things around. And it started with that man, Malik Carney. He has been fantastic tonight.
Yeah, and before I mention Malik Carney, I'll mention his other teammates, that defensive line coming into this game, maybe the best defensive line in the CFL. I think they had, 17, 18 sacks. You talk about Rhodes, you talk about Johnson, you talk about Ray, and let's talk about Carney and what he's done in his first half. He's wrecked shop. As Kate mentioned, 2 sacks, forced fumble. He had a tackle for loss. He's doing it all, and this is what you need out of your defensive linemen. If they can make plays like this, it makes it so much easier on your defensive backs. But he's not only making plays, he's setting up for his offense to go out there and make an easy touchdown. So this was a great first half by his defensive line. They really put a lot of pressure on Zach. We saw the late sack by Saeed, their first-round pick this year. So they're making some plays with that defensive line. If they can continue doing this, I don't know where Winnipeg is going to be able to make some plays down the field because they're getting that pressure on Zach, and Zach just doesn't move as well as they used to in the past.
I got John Bowman on line 3. He wants to talk about his Calgary defensive line.
I know. My man John. I'm sorry, John. You know, we hyping up the game. That's how we do it, baby.
But Carney's doing an amazing job, and you can see the confidence that the defensive coordinators, the play callers are having with him because they're just isolating him with the guards. One time it was Neufeld, the other time it was Wallace. They're saying, hey, go ahead and eat, and he is doing just that.
Same thing that Calgary did last week to Sask. Got their edge guys lined up against guards and worked them. You see that was a huge mismatch. But look at Sask offensively and what Winnipeg is doing to the Riders right now. It's strictly a numbers game. They're rushing 4 and sometimes 3, and they're still able to get some pressure on Trevor. And look at the numbers. If you're rushing 4, guys, that's 8 people dropping. So you look at the windows, and when then Trevor drops back, there's Blue Bomber jerseys everywhere. Trevor never misses that throw. I mean, you saw some misses. Trevor just didn't seem on early in this game. There's a 3-man rush right there, and they're getting pressure with 3. Again, you saw the bull rush getting pressure with 3 up there. Rushing 3 or rushing 4, that's 8 people dropping, and they only get 5 people on the route. Simple math. On this play right here, they kept the back end to block. They had more in for protection than the Riders were bringing. They were able to get the ball down the field, so that was key. If Trevor has time and is comfortable, which he hasn't felt like he's been comfortable thus far, I think they could have success against this secondary. But they've done a great job, Jordan Younger has, getting tons of people in the windows, fogging up the picture for Trevor, and then getting pressure.
And you know what? The same thing can be said for Zach Collaros in this game, too. I mean, there's moments where he's looked really good, but then they are getting a lot of heat on him as well. The 1 touchdown drive, though, and all of a sudden he's got 172 yards in this game, but he underthrows the ball, and then all of a sudden he goes straight back to the deep ball. 2 throws, and then Claire Cias ends up getting the touchdown. But I love the fact that he had the confidence to keep going down.
You have to admire the resilience from this player right here in Zach Collaros. I mean, he's been there before. They have this formation where they have Chris Ike. They come in, and they kind of let him roll out to the pocket on the right-hand side, and he knew he missed Clarkson on that one, but he comes back the very next play and hits Dembski down the road, and you would think it would have been a double move, but it's right up the field, and Dembski does make right on that, and then he comes back, and again, this time, Clark just makes a ridiculous catch right there and finishes the play, and that led to the touchdown. Now, that's been the best drive that this offense has had throughout the course of this game. They need to come back to a little bit more of that, where they sprinkle a little bit of Brady Oliveira in that drive as well, but Dembski was very much involved in that drive as well.
You know what? You could argue, though, that this could be a 14-14 ball game at this point. And I know, Milt, you're shaking your head because you know where I'm going on this one. It was the goal line stand. And kudos to the Riders' defense. They were great on this one. But when they didn't go back to Zach Collaros, Collaros, you were furious.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I understand on first down, you have Strevler in there because on the previous time when they had the ball, they gave it off to Brady and they scored. So they're going to try it on first down. I have no problem with that. But on second down, when you're like on a 4 or 5 yard line, you put in your quarterback because that gives a threat that you can throw the ball because they pretty much know with Strevler in the game, he's not going to throw the ball. He's going to run it
with Zach. He's still running with him in there, but at least like to your point, there's no threat.
There's no threat. I didn't like that.
I want to mention something we talked about quickly in the broadcast. We said someone brought up, I think you might have mentioned it. Is Nick Dembski a number one? You said it. Nick Dembski a number one receiver, and we all said no. But then we also all think that he's a top 9 receiver in this league.
Yeah.
This kind of tells you about Nick Dembski might not be an isolation number one guy, but if you're taking 9 receivers, he'll probably be in that top 9 because of all the great things he can do for your offense.
It's funny, though, if I want to get yards, though, and if I want a clutch guy down the stretch, I go to Nick Dembski every time.
Yeah.
And that's why. And that's why maybe he's not a top 10. I get that. But he's a guy that I'm putting on my team each and every time.
He does so much for your team. He can return. He can play running back.
He's a Swiss Army knife.
Great breakdown, Jazz.
Most overused term in sports.
Are you mocking someone, Chad?
Everybody.
I probably said it 900 times. Nick Arbuckle. He was simply magnificent.
Arbuckle trying to kill the line. Mitchell, touchdown. Arbuckle to throw. Looking deep again in the end zone. Touchdown. Nick Arbuckle has been relentless on this day.
How would you describe what's coming next in Hamilton during Labor Day?
Super fun opportunity to go toe-to-toe with one of the best quarterbacks, in CFL history.
Nick Arbuckle and the Toronto Argonauts coming off a 52-point performance. Hamilton comes off the bye. Bo Levi Mitchell, though, an incredible, perfect 7-0 record in the Labor Day Classic. That's your first game on Monday, and then your second game, it is the Battle of Alberta. The Stampeders have won 10 of their past 12 matchups and come into this one on a tear. They beat Winnipeg, they beat Saskatchewan, but the Elks, they have momentum on their side. They have won 3 straight. That is the longest winning streak currently in the CFL. 2 fantastic matchups. David Sanchez, which one are you most excited about?
Yeah, I'm looking at Edmonton-Calgary. And the reason why, I want to see what Edmonton's all about. And they've won 3 in a row. Kudos to this team. They're playing good football, and I love it. The reality is that then you only play who's on your schedule, who's in front of you. They beat them. But they've been 3 backup quarterbacks back-to-back-to-back. Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, all with their backup quarterbacks. I'll tell you what, the Calgary Stampeders tomorrow, they're not playing their backup. They're playing a guy named Vernon Adams Jr. And let's see what happens when they play Vernon Adams. I want to see it. This could be a great matchup. I'm excited this one.
Ooh, I'm looking at the Toronto Argonauts versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That game is going to be interesting to see because you look at the Toronto Argonauts and what they were able to do against the BC Lions last week. I mean, 52 points. Nobody saw that coming against the BC Lions, but Nick Arbuckle, the way he's running this offense right now is absolutely impressive. And the numbers that he's been putting, almost 3,500 yards already on the season, leading the league. And we knew about Coxie coming into the season. We saw Herling Herslow coming in and into his own, especially last week, almost 150 yards. And then Makai Polk comes back onto the team. What kind of offense will show up on Labor Day game for this team? It's going to be absolutely impressive and exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think both these games will be exciting, but I'm with you, Enoch. I'm excited about that Toronto-Hamilton game. Nick Arbuckle is playing lights out, 5 straight games over 300 yards. These Hamilton Tiger Cats, with Bo Levi mentioned that offense, they're trying to get back on track after losing 2 games. And you have something called offensive coordinators, but both of these guys are offensive composers. Scott Milanovich and, of course, my old buddy, what's his name? Ryan Dinwiddie. They know how to get some offenses going, so those are games I'm looking for.
The whole composer bit, you write that down?
I just came up with that.
That was good.
What did you just come up with? What, the VAJ? What was that?
I took that from you.
Oh,
yeah, you got him bad.
Stop saying that.
Yeah, I took it from you.
Wow.
Coming and they don't stop coming. Back to the rules and I'll hit the ground running. Didn't make sense.
in the 60th Labor Day Classic between the Bombers and Riders, with Saskatchewan having a 4-point lead. Look at the halftime numbers now. A new addition to Winnipeg's roster, Dalton Schoenbach, after missing 6 games, 3 catches, 32 yards, and standing by now with Britt Dort.
Well, Dalton, first off, welcome back. 3 catches in that first half for yourself. How did it feel to get back out there?
Feels good to be back out there. Obviously, it's a great atmosphere today, but at the end of the day, always great to be back out there with the boys.
Tight one out there as well. What was the biggest message for you guys to try to come out on top here today?
We just got to execute better, especially from an offensive standpoint. I don't think we played a very good half. Left ourselves in second and long a lot and didn't execute on second down. So ultimately just play some clean football.
Thanks for this one, Dalton.
Yeah, thanks, Britt.
The Bombers had the first 10 points. Got 3 more after a turnover deep in the Saskatchewan zone. Added the field goal to make it 10-0. But back-to-back touchdowns by Saskatchewan, including points off the turnover themselves. They have the 14-10 lead with Alford and Myers back for this kick by Sergio Castillo. Labor Day Classic 2025. The second half has begun, and Alford has it down at the Rider 5. They get the ball to start the second half, and a good return here by Alford. He's finally tackled up across the 40. It's by Connor Shea, and Trevor Harris looking at his first half. 7-12 for 132 and a touchdown pass.
Yeah, slow start for Trevor Harris and the Saskatchewan offense. Few 2-and-outs in that first quarter, but he did get things going when he started to get the receivers down the field a little bit further. Joe, who's returning from his NFL tryout, got involved in that second half.
A 69-yarder in the third touchdown of the season for Tommy Neal. Hence the lead, 14-10. A.J. Ouellette, another carry for him. Hard to grind out those yards against that Bomber defense coming into the second half with 8 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown.
On the field. Winnipeg, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And too many on the field for the Blue Bombers, so good break here for the Riders as they get a first down via penalty.
I wonder if both these teams.
Too many players on the field. Winnipeg, 10-yard penalty, first.
Jordan Younger's defensive coordinator is signaling the formation. Just had one too many out there. I think it was newcomer Jaden Woodby, Boston College, that was on the field and wasn't supposed to be. He's the guy who went back to the sideline.
Just added to the lineup this week. There's Woodby off on the sideline now. First and 10 now up across the 50. Starting at the 51. Saskatchewan faking that time. Deep look left for Joe Robustelli. And Trey Vavel was right there on the coverage on Robustelli. Still without a catch in this game. Incomplete second down.
That's what I mean about Trey Vavel. Just 3 starts. This is his 3rd start on D. And he's been on the special teams, as we mentioned, the first half. But when he's been tested, and that was deliberate attempt to go after him. He's not a big corner. He's just under 6 feet. But I'll tell you what, he has shown up, and when tested, has come through.
Solid returner, as mentioned, with injury. Terrell Bonds getting that in the boundary corner. Another start. So some pressure coming on Harris, who tries to get rid of it. Vaughters just bats it away with his left hand as Cam Lawson was in, putting some heat on Harris. We got a 3rd down, and the punting unit will come on for Saskatchewan.
Well, that was dangerous. There was Willie Jefferson. Lawson's going to get the pressure, and he causes the problem. But watch Jefferson as well. He's hanging out when Trevor Harris decides to just kind of flip this. This number 5 is right around there, and he's got some ball skills.
An old receiver, Stephen F. Austin. Ian Vaughters in the mix there. The punt from Joe Couch from his 40. And Vavel has made the defensive play, and he is back there on the return across the 15, the 20, and out of bounds just across the 25 for Zach Collaros, who was 14 of 19 for 172 yards in that first half.
So 2 veteran quarterbacks going at it back and forth. Zach had the big first quarter. Felton Dalton shown a few times, get him back and activated in the lineup after being on the 6-game injured list. He got a deep ball to Dembski. This was the big catch by Clercius. Set up the touchdown for the Bombers.
So they'll start to their 26. Mentioned they had the first 10 points of this game before the Riders came storming back in the second quarter. Silent count. Collaros running out of time. More heat on him as he throws that one out of bounds. That Rider D-line, they've had a couple of sacks, 3 of them actually in that first half. A couple by Malik Carney, but more pressure there on Zach Collaros.
When Dalton Schoen was talking to Britt there just before the start of this half, Schoen mentioned that we've got to be better on first down. And if you're going to be better on first down, that guy right there, number 20 in the huddle, he's got to become more involved than he has been for the Bombers in this game. And just 4 touches in that first half for 16 yards.
This crowded mosaic trying to make life a whole lot harder for Collaros and the Winnipeg offense now. Noise picks up. Second down and 10 for the 26. Pressure. Micah Johnson has it. He's the latest to add to his sack total. That relentless Rider defensive line strikes again for Micah Johnson. His 6th sack of the season.
Two great pros, Chris Kolinkowski, the center, and Micah Johnson right here in the three-point stance are just going to battle it out until Johnson keeps pushing, fighting. Good block so far, but when Zach Collaros tries to escape, Kolinkowski doesn't know where he's escaping, and that's when Johnson reacts and gets a sack.
Sack number 6 for Micah Johnson. Carney has 6 in the season now with 2. Ali Saad has 1. So they have 4 sacks of Zach Collaros, and the Bombers, just like that, are forced to punt it away.
We talked to Zach this week and asked him about that D-line. I mentioned Mike Rose in that edition.
Yeah.
He mentioned without asking the question about Rose, but said this defensive line in Saskatchewan may be the best in the league. Of course, we kept his own teammates out of that conversation.
Jamison Sheehan punting again. Alford in at the 45. It's a good field position for the Riders. Venturing into the Winnipeg zone is Alford. Gets it across midfield. Down to the 50. There they are after celebrating another sack of Zach.
Don't get me wrong, yeah, I think you're all right, but that won't keep me warm in the middle of the night.
Defense is dominating the start of the second half, but a good return, 18 yards by Mario Alford, and Trevor Harris and the Riders get the start of the Bombers zone. They're right at the 50. They lead by 4. 14-10 in the 60th Labor Day Classic between Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. Harris goes to work. Off to the left to Tommy Neal, and a big touchdown in the first half. A little jump there in his step over Cam Allen as he picks up another couple of yards and down closer to a first down to set up a second and short.
Tommy Neal, as an athlete, is starting to become a trend in the league. I mean, he's been around 5 years, so don't get me wrong, this isn't brand new for him. But at his size, at 6'3", 203, kind of like Javon Catoy in Vancouver. Think of Mital in Toronto. You know, these bigger, almost tight end-like players.
In his 5th year at a McMaster, so back to the ground. Olet looking to get that first down. He was 3 yards shy, and he does indeed have it. As this drive will continue for Saskatchewan, getting a little bit closer now and looking to add to that 4-point lead. Get it down to the 40, just inside for a first down.
Corey Mace told us that they're close to getting Sam Emelis back in the lineup. Very close to getting Keon Schaefer-Baker back in the lineup.
Loaded in receiving talent.
And Joe just showed up.
Back to Olet. Breaking tackles. That train is running that time. Final one there, Jay Person to take Olet down. But another good pickup on the ground. Trying to get him going. Second down and about 4 to go here for the Riders.
That's just an effort play from A.J. Olet. I mean, he could have been stopped at the line of scrimmage twice. Broke 3 or 4 tackles. Great production on first down and all through effort.
Well, still averaging just over 4 yards a carry. The Bombers had done a good job with him for the most part in the first half, but let's see if they can wear him down. keep giving it 45. We'll see now. It's a 2nd and 3. Looking to throw to the right. It is caught. Another first down. Keyshawn Johnson taken down there by Dexter Lawson and Evan Holm, but not before Saskatchewan moves the sticks again.
This drive set up by a nice return from Mario Alford. That's the slot back position. They've moved Keyshawn Johnson in after the first few weeks of the season into that slot back, get him closer to Trevor Harris. And because he comes back towards the line of scrimmage, he creates just enough separation between he and Evan Holm.
The Riders have 14 unanswered points. They lead by 4. They have it down to the Winnipeg 26 now. Early in the second half. Taking the handoff and trying to dump it off for a Joe with Michael Griffin there. That ball was low, though, as Harris had to get rid of it in a hurry. Incomplete, 2nd down.
Yeah, he had a Bomber D lineman in his face right off the edge and had to throw it around that rush. It's Kyrie Wilson again. Saw him tip one in the first half. That affected the flight of the ball.
Let back in after Mario Anderson was a running back on that last play. 2nd down and 10 from the Winnipeg 26. Harris, pressure coming, tries to get away from it, gets rid of the ball, but no, it's just off the fingertips there of Neild with Allen in on him, and some heat was coming in on Harris with Jake Thomas bearing down just before he threw it.
Trips into the boundary. That's 3 receiver side. And this is just scramble play. So Neild's runs his dig route and then is just trying to find an opening to give his quarterback a target as he scrambles around. And they just miss. Now Brett Lawther gets a chance to make a field goal, and it has been quite a season for Lawther.
Lawther 0 for 1 last week in Calgary. Had a tough one against Hamilton a couple of weeks ago, but that is perfect for the veteran kicker Brett Lawther, who makes it 17 unanswered points. Saskatchewan now, and a 17-10 lead in the 60th Labor Day Classic. NFL season kickoff right around the corner. Big battle in the NFC East with the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas moving on after Micah Parsons. Get ready. It all begins Thursday, 8:20 Eastern Time, 5:20 Pacific. That'll be on TSN and CTV.
So we can watch football all week long.
Oh, yeah, we can. Quite a treat. Including this right now and a couple of games and a couple more Labor Day Classics tomorrow in Hamilton and in Calgary. The tradition continues, and got a good one brewing here. Crowd picking up again. As the Riders at 3, they lead it by 7. Collaros and the Bombers with the ball now from their 40. Faking to Logan, rolling right, and coming back to the ball is the ever-reliable Nick Dembski. As Collaros hits his favorite target there for a first down.
Yeah, when this offense is struggling a little bit, they've had a couple of 2-and-outs. The guy they're going to try and get going is Dembski. He's going to be the guy to give him a little bit of momentum, get that first down, and start to get rolling. I'm still quite surprised. And listen, respect for the Saskatchewan defense I get, but quite surprised that number 20 hasn't been used very much in this one.
As for number 10, for Dembski on that catch, he now goes over 6,000 yards on his great career. 4 catches, 53 in this game, and a first down around the 50. Rolling right again, Collaros. Short pass to Dembski again, and he does something with it afterwards. First down and more, down around the 45, just inside of Saskatchewan. So here come the Bombers.
So this play, just if you're wondering why Jason Hogan isn't calling plays to Brady Oliveira, well, this play is a potential handoff to Oliveira, but Zach decides, and it's up to him, what he wants to do with it. If he pulls it, and now he goes outside, throws it to Dembski, they get another fresh set of downs on that play. But that's back-to-back plays where the decision was Zach Collaros'. Jason Hogan called the play where Oliveira could have been involved.
From the Rider 45, little toss. Garrett Wheatfall, he eludes Shane Ray, and he picks up about 3 yards. He could have been tackled behind the line, so good work after taking that little toss pass by Wheatfall.
I just wonder because of the game Brady Oliveira had last week. I mean, against Montreal, with 2 receivers going down, And actually, Chris Streveler having to play receiver for a while in that game. They leaned big time on Oliveira, and he delivered. 137 yards rushing, and he can catch it out of the backfield now. Mike O'Shea made a point of that in our conversation with him this week. He's got great hands coming out of the backfield.
Somewhat stunning to look at the stat sheet on this day. 4 carries for 16 yards for Oliveira. That's it. That includes a 5-yard touchdown run. Wheatball gain 3. 2nd and 7. Collaros deep over the middle. It's caught. Sitting down right away, but a big catch for Dalton Schoen in his first game back in nearly 2 months, and another first down for the Bombers.
You know, both when you look at both Brady Oliveira and Nick Dembski, they're good friends, teammates. And look at Oliveira trying to get Dembski get in a little tighter so that Shane Ray has to bubble, because I'm going to take the inside guy and help my offensive line so my quarterback can find our receiver.
You see Collaros suits thread the needle there with Jameer Thurman trying to get his hands on that ball. Goes right into Dalton Schoen. And his 4th catch for 52 yards. Winnipeg shot to the end zone. Touchdown, Dembski. Does it again. Labor Day Classic touchdown for a guy that knows both sides of this rivalry.
This is what Zach Collaros said to us. I mentioned it in the first half, but he said Nick Dembski is our best player. Direct quote from the starting quarterback and future Hall of Famer. He's our best player. That was the Nick Dembski drive.
And with that, Zach Collaros is now alone 3rd all-time in the most touchdown passes in Bombers history, behind Dieter Brock and Kahari Jones. He moves ahead of Kenny Blaine. And that patented move, rolling out to the right and finding an open receiver in the end zone. Collaros to Dembski again, and a point after try away from tying this Labor Day Classic. Sergio Castillo gets it done. 17-17. 3rd quarter. What you might expect from a classic. All even again. Collaros to Dembski in Regina. Thunder.
Coming in, led this team in targets, receptions, 2nd down catches, yards, and watch the route running and the subtlety from Dembski. Watch when he gets Fields' turns here and how he uses his right hand to create separation. He's going back to the corner route here. Watch the right hand. Off the shoulder of the DB, a subtle push with the left hand. There's the separation he needed, and now Zach has to drop it over the outside shoulder. Throw is bang on.
7th touchdown of the season for Nick Dembski, who earlier made it 82 straight games with a catch. The current active leader in that department. So we get a tie game, and Mario Alford goes down. He was hit just across the 20, about the 23 for Saskatchewan. Over to you, Trevor Harris, now, after that 5-play, 70-yard touchdown drive for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
How many of those plays were to number 10?
He had a couple to 10. Yeah, 3 of them to 10. And the big one, too, to Dalton Schoen for 20 yards to get them down closer.
Swing that.
An injured Bomber down on the field, right around the Rider 15.
That's Ethan
like
Ball.
Ethan Ball.
6th-round draft pick for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers last year. Has done a real nice job in his last 6 games, covering kicks. Handful of special teams tackles coming in. He was the guy who made first contact on this cover. And then when he got up, looked like he got something tweaked in the calf.
Ethan Ball, the rookie out of the University of Calgary, still down. Back in a moment.
Lucky Whitehead in the end zone if Lowther misses. And Brett Lowther doesn't do that. It's a walk-off game winner for Brett Lowther and the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And it's the Lowther leap. Heading to Bill Country after that kick.
Oh, a moment Brett Lauther will never forget, and he had another one this week too, Brett.
Yeah, and maybe it's one that'll give him an extra boost out here again today as he officially welcomed his first child into the world on Wednesday. Congrats to him and his wife Jill on the birth of their baby girl. Towns Marianne Lauther, of course, was born on Wednesday. I went up to him and congratulated him before the game. I asked him, "How does it feel, Dad?" He said, "Well, I'm tired."
He's tired. How about Jill? Thank you, Brett. Congratulations to them both, and welcome addition to the Lauther family. Saskatchewan with the ball after that touchdown by Dembski up across the 25.
Listen, I mentioned it's been a grind this season for Brett Lauther, and the inconsistency has been an issue. It's been a topic of discussion here in this province all season long. And now you know one of the distractions that were going on for Brett Lauther, that his wife was pregnant, and you know as a father how difficult that is, and just make all the worry and the loss of sleep, hoping that everyone's healthy, and they are, which is excellent. That weight is now lifted off his shoulder, and he's made one tonight.
And how many times have we seen it come down to a field goal in this classic? Who knows? Tie game. Dante Myers has the catch, has the Rider first down up across the Saskatchewan 40.
Yeah, it's getting fun to watch Dante Myers and Keyshawn Johnson in this receiving core just sort of grow as the season goes on. Become better route runners every game, making these big plays. Mentioned Myers has been the deep threat, but they can both get in behind coverage. And they'll move him around, and this is looks like Trevor Harris having trouble getting the call here.
7:47. 14.
Well, it's Keyshawn Johnson that's led them in yardage. Myers, big play receiver, leading them in touchdowns with 6. We get a tie game at 17. It's up at the 42. Saskatchewan and a first down. A.J. Ouellette cuts it back left. And a good decision there as he picks up some good yardage up closer to the 50, about the 49. That'll set up another second and short for Saskatchewan.
The fullbacks get involved. Watch Alberta Awachi come out and get a block, as A.J. Ouellette's going to be patient with this run. It's off to the right side. Doesn't like it. Awachi's got his man tied up. And that allowed, and it was Vaughters, and that allows A.J. Ouellette to get production on first down.
11 carries, 48 yards, and a touchdown.
And a great hit of hair. Just a great hit of hair.
He does. Loves to flaunt it, too. Taking that helmet off. On right now, though, on a big second down and short with Harris to throw it. And it is caught by Johnson. First down, they get it up across midfield.
That's what I mean about the route running. Watch Keyshawn Johnson get a nice look at his route running. Little inside stem, and it's a speed cut to the outside. They drop him, and Nichols ends up picking him up, but he's a step late. And Trevor Harris gets a new set of downs.
That's with Mario Anderson, number 24, in at running back for the Riders. Spelling Ouellette. Right around midfield in this tie ball game. Faking to Anderson. Quickly over the middle. Juggled and caught by Robustelli. Gets it inside the Bomber 40, and another first down for the Riders.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's great concentration by Joe Robustelli to look around the linebacker dropping and make the one-hander pull it back to himself, because that was well behind him. And the reason for that is that Tony Jones had dropped underneath that. He almost had the interception. In fact, I think he got his hands on it. Robustelli maintains concentration and keeps this drive alive.
All the injuries to Rider receivers. Robustelli got his chance. He's made the most of it now. Second catch tonight. Quickly again. That's Myers. Harris went right to the right as he brought it down. Gets it inside the 30, and Saskatchewan's got something going now.
Well, Zach Collaros has passed Dieter Brock on the all-time list. Kent Austin passed a former Saskatchewan Roughrider with that last throw on the list, and that is Kent Austin, former teammate of mine back in the day, and a former coach in the Canadian Football League for many years as well. So moving up the list, both these veteran quarterbacks.
You saw Brock at 15. He's actually at 16 now because Collaros has passed him earlier. So both of them moving up the charts on this night. Trevor Harris now, 13th all-time. There's Mario Anderson breaking it off. Inside the 10-5. Touchdown Riders. What an answer by the green and white. They have the lead again.
Mario Anderson, last 3 games with just 8 touches. He comes in and spells A.J. Ouellette when he needs a rest, but he brings something different to the table. Look at that burst of speed in the hole. Nice low center of gravity, tough to bring down. His first major for the Roughriders.
The great burst, and then it looked like Trey Vavel had him, and he broke that tackle around the 5 and took it in. Mario Anderson spelling off A.J. Ouellette in the best way possible. Another touchdown on the ground for Rider running backs. Brett Lauther putting it left and missed that point after it. And we'll be hearing about it a bit too. There's been a lot of heat on him lately, as you talked about. So it's a 6-point game. But Mario Anderson has the touchdown that give the Riders the lead again.
Let's go back to the touchdown. First of all, nice block off the edge from Albert Owachi again. And watch the down block here from Jamarcus Hardrick. Bramer's going to pull and get outside and help out on Owachi. There's the down block by Hardrick. Owachi on the edge player. And Mario Anderson through that hole. There's the burst to outrun any angle from the DBs. He's in the end zone.
And his first CFL touchdown, number 24, Mario Anderson, to put the Riders on top again.
That's a couple big blocks from Owachi.
Takes it in. Riders lead, but the missed point after try, so it's a 6-point game. And there's Andrew Harris, known very well as a former Blue Bomber and up against his old team where he had so many great years in Winnipeg, of course. Now the running backs coach and enjoying a moment there with one of his running backs, Anderson.
Hey, is that weak shoulder?
Andrew Harris knew the Labor Day Classic a bit from the other side.
Totally, and Brady Oliveira and him are good friends, and Harris has been a mentor for Oliveira as well.
Like he was a coach back in his playing days, too. There's Peyton Logan running into his own man and finally gets circled by green and white just up across the 30 for Logan on the return. It was a 4-point game at halftime. It is now a 6-point game. They trade points. A touchdown for Dembski. And coming back the other way, a touchdown for Mario Anderson. Labor Day Classic in Regina, 23-17 Saskatchewan.
Born to be wild.
Through 3 quarters, in many ways looking like another classic between these two teams. But the one thing that is stunning as you look at these stat suits, only 15 yards rushing for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah, when Brady Oliveira last week had over 130 yards rushing, just 15 and just a few touches. So, yeah, that is a bit of a surprise. Although, as we showed you in the third quarter, there has been times when the play call from Jason Hogan has been the option to give it to Brady or for Zach Collaros to pull it and then look for Dembski or someone else down the field to either run and throw. So there is times when a play call has given the option to Zach Collaros. He's just chosen to pull it.
Well, these two offenses finding their groove late in the third quarter. The last time the Bombers had the ball, they drove down 5 plays. Touchdown pass, Collaros to Dembski. And after Saskatchewan went ahead again, a missed point after makes it a 6-point game to start the final 15. Setting up a screen to Oliveira at the 30. 35, puts his head down. Carney is in there. Few riders, too. A.J. Allen as well. In on that tackle of Brady Oliveira, second down.
Yeah, and this is another way to do that is the short passing game. Screen play, screen game, little swing passes. Those are basically extended runs. And that play from Jason Hogan was designed to go to Oliveira. No choice or no option there. Well, unless he was covered down and then Zach could have made it up as he went along.
So Oliveira gets 6. It's a 2nd and 4. Crowd picking up here again at Mosaic. Their Riders leading by 6. It's a tight one. 17, handing off that time to Oliveira. Finds a hole and more, still on his feet. And a flag does come out back closer to the original line of scrimmage, but that would be easily enough for another first down.
Winnipeg, no end, 5-yard penalty. We're going to replay second down.
But no, penalties against the Bombers on for procedure, so it's coming back.
An illegal formation where the offensive line has to be covered by a receiver. The officials didn't see that, and it takes a momentum-building play off the board for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Because that was the kind of play that they rally around. The extra effort from Oliveira, the extra yards at the end of the run. And now they're in second and 9.
Instead of what would have been a big first down for the Bombers, trailing by 6. Yeah, 8 touches, 16 yards. Rushing. That's it. Second and 9. Quick hitter over the middle. Good work after the catch, too, by Dylan Mitchell. Great work after he caught that football to get the first down across the 45.
Yeah, Dylan Mitchell, great route here by Mitchell. He's going to go inside, a little bit of a waggle, be patient with the route so he doesn't run into that next defender, which was Roland Milligan. Was patient till the ball arrived and then did a little extra lifting after the catch.
Mitchell, just his 5th game with the Bombers, signing as a free agent in the offseason for 3 seasons with the Edmonton Elks. And we have a challenge coming up here. Corey Mays talking things over with Andre Proulx.
Saskatchewan is challenging the previous play for offensive pass interference by Winnipeg number 10. The play will be reviewed by the replay center.
There you go. Accusing Nick Dembski of offensive pass interference. So the replay center will review that and deliberate and make a decision in a few moments. A quick look as we head to break on that play.
Yeah, this is exactly, that's called blocking downfield and is a penalty.
Well, here's the decision from the replay center.
Upon review by the replay center, there was offensive pass interference on Winnipeg number 10. 10-yard penalty. It remains second down.
So basically a pick down the field. Right. I mean, it's blocking before the ball was caught. And it goes under that same category as offensive pass interference. So good challenge by Corey Mays to see it, have his spotters see it, and take that first down off the board.
Yeah, negates another first down, pushes them 10 back, and that was a second and 9. So now a second and 19. And Winnipeg is pushed back to their 22. Just under 13 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. 2 penalties negating first downs in this drive by Winnipeg with 4 receivers to the right. Polaris, and they don't get it off. It's another penalty with the crowd helping out.
Time count violation. Winnipeg number 8. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Yeah, you want a crowd to get louder. That'll help.
Yeah. This is the crowd. That's the crowd-generated penalty right there because the receivers, as they were hitting the line of scrimmage, couldn't hear Zach Collaros. They had to look down the line. He had to hold them at the line, so the timing on the waggle was completely off, and they get the procedure call.
Back to their 17 now. They're going backwards. Get a second down and 24 now. Setting up a draw to Oliveira. And working his way up across the 25. The ball comes out. The Riders have the football. And what's the ruling here by the officials?
Well, was he down? Was he down? Whole bunch of field position at stake on this. Tough to see the right knee.
Was that right knee down before the ball came out?
They haven't made a ruling yet. conferencing on whether or not the right knee was down before the ball came out.
That is so close. What a big moment this would be. What a big decision.
The ruling in the field is the ball carrier fumbled the football prior to his knee being on the ground. Therefore, Saskatchewan will have the ball. We also have an objectionable conduct penalty on Saskatchewan number 42. We're going to go back 10 yards. Saskatchewan football.
On that second and long, Brady Oliveira got some of it back, but that ball came out just as the knee was hitting the turf. It is ruled a fumble. It's Saskatchewan football.
A.J. Allen hustles over to make the hit and then strips Brady Oliveira.
Had a big turnover in the first half. One play later led to an A.J. Ouellette touchdown. Points off turnovers. -8 coming in for Winnipeg. It bites them here. Saskatchewan ball. A.J. Ouellette breaking through. Had that touchdown in the first half and has a good carry right there. Getting deeper into the Bomber zone with their 6-point lead.
I guarantee you A.J. Ouellette has learned this patience in the hole from Andrew Harris. He presses the line of scrimmage, and he's going to wait for his blocks to be set up so his O-line gets the angles they need so he can break one way or the other. That's vintage Andrew Harris right there.
And they're back in the territory of the running back again on a second down and a yard. It's actually Tommy Stevens out for short yardage. Short yardage QB does as he often does. He keeps his feet and he gets some more. Big Tommy Stevens running hard. Gets it down to about the 17 of Winnipeg and a first down.
I'll tell you what, we got two great short yardage quarterbacks in this game, don't we? Tommy Stevens is one of them. Watch the extra effort from Stevens at 245 pounds. He wants to get involved in this game, and if we haven't seen a lot of the short yardage plays in this one, but we have seen a little of Chris Streveler, and Streveler is a similar player.
Harris back in. Riders pressing. Up 6. Back to Ouellette. Breaks it right. The A.J. train inside the 10. And now he's down inside the 5. And we got a first and goal coming up here for Saskatchewan.
Didn't catch the number of the Bomber, who had a chance with about a 2-yard gain. When A.J. Ouellette breaks to the right here, Joe is helping out on Jefferson. There it is right there. Dietrich Nichols had a shot at him. If he gets him there, he's about a yard past the line of scrimmage, but A.J. Ouellette jumped out of that tackle in a hurry.
He has 13 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. He gets a break. Mario Anderson had a touchdown earlier in this half. Is in, has the ball. 3, 2, 1, pushing towards the end zone. And another Saskatchewan touchdown. Anderson again. Riders add to their lead with more points off turnovers.
Now here's a question, Coach Smith. Do you go for 2 because Brett Lowther missed on the extra point on the last touchdown from Anderson?
12-point game. I think you would.
But let's take a look at the blocking up front. And Mario Anderson getting a chance to get not just 1, but 2 touchdowns, his first 2 in Canadian football. And he goes, with the help of his O-line, he goes through Tony Jones to get there on the second one.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Both fouls occur after the touchdown. First one, misconduct 15-yard penalty on 62 Saskatchewan. Misconduct penalty on Winnipeg number 0. Both penalty offset each other. Convert.
So it's the left tackle, Peyton Collins, and the safety for Winnipeg, Cam Allen. The bottom line, they negate each other, and it's another touchdown for Mario Anderson in his first year out of Memphis. And they will indeed, Coach Suter, be going for 2. See if they can make it a 14-point game. It stands at 12 right now. The 2-point try with the ball placed at the 3 for Trevor Harris and the Rider offense. On here, we'll see if they can make it a 14-point game. Looks to throw to the left. Wide open, they get it. Joe makes his presence felt in his return to Saskatchewan.
Boy, he quickly became a crowd favorite here. They'd love to have him back in the green and white.
Off the fumble recovery. Anderson finishes it off with 2 more and some icing on the cake for a Joe in a 14-point game. One of the trademarks of the Labor Day Classic between these two teams is it's always close at the end. Well, Saskatchewan would like to change that trend. Brady Oliveira, not like last week against Montreal. The Riders defense has done a good job against him. He's got another touchdown from Mario Anderson as Lothar kicks off. Now a 14-point Saskatchewan lead with under 10 minutes to go. Peyton Logan has it. And he is taken down with a flag coming down as well. A.J. Ouellette, productive game, has a touchdown, and so does the other running back. 2 touchdowns for Mario Anderson.
Yeah, it's an ideal situation when A.J. Ouellette does a lot of the heavy lifting. He's got 13 carries, 70 yards, and then you put fresh legs out there. Get Mario Anderson with those fresh legs. He's got a little hop in his step and gets his first 2 majors in Canadian football. A little bit excited, you think, on Labor Day?
And they came on his last 2 touches, so 3 touchdowns on the ground for the Riders. 1 Ouellette, 2 Anderson.
There is no infraction on the play.
So no penalty there. But in 13 games, I should say, with Memphis last year, 1,362 yards rushing and 18 touchdowns for that man, Mario Anderson. First year in the Canadian Football League and having his best day as a pro, to be sure. In this Labor Day Classic, 9.5 minutes to go. Rider fans picking up. It's 31-17 is the sun setting on Winnipeg. Off to Dembski. In behind the line and works his way up closer to the line of scrimmage, and no further than that. Dembski. They're all over him. DeMarcus Fields coming in.
You know, a 2-possession lead, your defense plays with great confidence. That's my Captain Obvious moment right there. But that's also where you can maybe get a double move in behind him. That would, for me, if you're the Bombers, you're looking at Carrick Wheatfall possibly, or Dembski. But you get that double move because they're playing so aggressively with a 2-possession lead.
And it's a 2nd and long now, loss of about a foot. So more than 10 yards for the Bombers, and Collaros now facing the heat. And he dumps it off for Oliveira and just threw it a little too far for him to catch. So the Rider defense toughening up here at a critical point in this game. And brings a little smile to the face of their head coach as Winnipeg's going to have to punt the ball again.
Now, if you thought we saw a lot of A.J. Ouellette and Mario Anderson previous, with 8:33 to go and a 2-possession lead, I know they'll lead on that running game.
Mario Alford. One very impressive return that certainly helped the Riders out in this game in his first game back. Time to go back to work for Ouellette after Anderson did some heavy lifting. Rider football, 8:26 on the clock, 4th quarter. CFL OK Tire Labor Day weekend action started today, and it resumes tomorrow with a doubleheader. The Argos taking on the Hamilton Tiger Cats, 2 Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time, and then the Calgary Stampeders, watching closely, I'm sure, in 2nd in the West at 7-3, host the Edmonton Elks, the Alberta rivalry. And the Elks, Mark Killam finally got something going, stringing some wins together.
Yes, he does. And remember, Labor Day weekend, the records don't seem to matter as much.
All bets are off. Yep. It's the Riders in this latest meeting. They lost last year. They've lost 3 of 4 to Winnipeg. But they're up 14 right now on the ground. The running game has been a difference in this. Saskatchewan has certainly run the football with two backs better than Winnipeg has.
Yeah, 112 plus whatever A.J. Ouellette just got on that run versus the Bombers, who usually really lean on that run game with Brady Oliveira with just 23 yards rushing in this game to this point. And now down 2 possessions. They got to get chunks. Try and come back, but it starts with a stop on D.
And a big 2nd and 5 now after that pickup by Ouellette. See that penalty yardage. Harris swinging it out to Ouellette, cuts it back and spins, tries to pull his way across the 50, still shy of a first down though, so the Bomber defense does its job as it looks like the Riders will have to kick it away.
Yeah, the defense does what they needed to do to cue the comeback if there's going to be one, and they get the stop on 2nd down. You know, this Bomber team throughout the last 5 years in their 5 appearances in the Grey Cup out of the West Division, there's been sort of the formula, running the ball. They're behind in that category for Michael O'Shea in this game tonight. The giveaway takeaway category, they're behind again in that category here tonight. And then penalties. They've always been tops in the league in those 3 categories in their 5 years at the Grey Cup.
Uncharacteristic is Joe Couch from his 40. Trey Vavel, one of the top returners this season in the CFL. Bombers can use a big return coming up. Coverage, though, is good as he turns it back to the right. That's Aaron Patrick coming in on special teams to stop him right at the 21. Back comes Collaros in the Winnipeg offense, and they've got some work to do now. 6:20 in the clock in the 4th quarter. Winnipeg trailing now by 14.
Yes, but 6:20, plenty of time in Canadian football, down 2 possessions. I've seen many a comeback, in fact, in the final 3 minutes of the game, down 2 possessions.
Not just the CFL in general, but these Labor Day Classics. These two teams, it happened with the Riders, down a couple of touchdowns in the 2nd half. They, in the dying minutes last year in this field, were down 8 points. They came back with a touchdown, missed the 2-point convert, but had a chance to win it. It was deflected at the line and intended there for Kevin Sklarcius. And DeMarcus Field is in on him. It's incomplete at 2nd down.
In order to eliminate the double move opportunity for Zach Collaros against an aggressive defense up by 2 scores, Corey Mace goes with full pressure. Free guy off the edge, and Baldonado got his hand on that.
Baldonado touched it, but it still went Clarcius's way, and coverage was good. 2nd and 10. This crowd is animated, is energetic, is lively, as they have been here at Mosaic. Feeling the moment on Labor Day. Collaros gets rid of it. No, intended for Schoen, and Milligan was right with him, and he can't control the football, and it heads out of bounds. And it's 3rd down and 10. Sheehan will come on to punt it away.
Last year's top defender in the league is finding his game again as this season has gone on. I mentioned the 4 interceptions for Roland Milligan. That tied the lead coming in, and he just runs Schoen out of bounds here. Quick close from number 0.
So Sheehan the punt. Alford waits for it at the 41. Saskatchewan has some room in midfield, and he's got more. Cutting it back. 45 fumbles the football, and the Bombers have it. Just on a great return there by Alford. It is Jake Kelly coming up with a big turnover for Winnipeg.
Take a look at how that ball got hit and tackled. Kelly from behind is going to regroup. There's that's where it got punched out. Kelly recovered it. Kyrie Wilson on the cover teams. He punches it out. Another big play. Huge game. Can this be the play?
Well, we talked about how the turnovers are hurting Winnipeg in this game. Big one in their favor. They're at their 46. They get the ball again. Collaros over the middle, and it's caught in a in the first half. And that one, he hangs onto the football and takes a hit down inside about the 42 of Saskatchewan.
Well, Kevin Sklercius knows he's going to get hit here, and he braces for it. And in fact, Jackson Ford probably got the worst of it. That's a big receiver over the middle.
Big target, catches it, hangs on. Had a beautiful Kenny Lawler-like grab back in the first half. Helped set them up for a touchdown. We're in the Riders zone. 4:24 on the clock. Down 14. Collaros gets it away. Sklercius again inside the 35, down to about the 33, and that is close to another Winnipeg first down. Collaros taking a hit on that pass.
Yeah, that D-line's getting there. Sklercius might have to go off.
Timeout. Winnipeg, timer, please reset the game clock to read 4 minutes, 11 seconds. 4:11, please.
I believe that was Malik Carney providing the pressure on that one. Like Sklercius got up and was shaking his head a little bit.
Stays in the huddle. Some big catches for second-year receiver Kevin Sklercius. You saw the hit taken by Collaros. He was knocked out of this game a year ago and a hit by Miles Brown. Second and 1 after that pickup. Collaros to throw on that second down. Chucks it deep into the end zone. Touchdown, Winnipeg! Wow! After the turnover, they answer quickly. It is Carrick Wheatfall with the touchdown, and don't look now, the Bombers are back within a score.
Well, and the key block on the play is from Brady Oliveira to give Zach Collaros a chance to climb up in the pocket and find his receiver down the field. That's a huge block on a free man off the edge. Without that block, the play is dead, but it's kept alive by Brady Oliveira, and that gives Zach Collaros a chance to drop it in over the shoulder of Wheatfall.
Carrick Wheatfall, in his second year with the Bombers, has his third touchdown catch of the season in what had been a quieter game for him. Just his second catch, 36-yarder. And the kick was good by Castillo, so it's a 7-point difference again.
Take a look at the route run by Wheatfall. The guy that early in the season was the deep threat, and in the last 4 or 5 games has been quieter on those deep balls. You haven't seen as many of them. In the first 3 games, 5 explosives. In the last 6, 0. He had one last week, a 32-yarder. And they get him going again when they need him most. Now it's a one-possession game.
In 5 of the last 6 years, the Labor Day Classic between these two teams has been a one-possession game heading into the final 3 minutes. 3:57 on the clock here at Mosaic Stadium. 7-point difference after the Wheatfall touchdown. Riders still leading, but only by a touchdown. It's about as quiet as I've heard this crowd this afternoon or this evening.
Yeah, touchdown by the Bombers will do that quickly, make it one possession, and now goes to Trevor Harris. His turn.
Dante Myers on the return. Up to about the 37. And the tackle there by Woodby. So Trevor Harris back on. By no means is this over yet. Still plenty of time. 3:51 after a 3-play, 64-yard drive. After the fumble, Mario Alford gave the Bombers good field position to start their drive at their 46.
And Trevor Harris doesn't have to get conservative here. There's too much time left. Got to run the offense, which has been a little mixture of A.J. Ouellette, some Mario Anderson, and then the ball to Myers or Keyshawn Johnson.
Across their 35 now. First down. Harris to Ouellette, left side, spinning, and he works his way up. A good pickup on first down. And lost his hat there with that flowing hair coming out up to around the 43. Second down coming up.
Okay. I said, I think the crowd is reacting to a replay that there was
my goodness,
big time face mask by Cam Lawson.
A blatant face mask by Cameron Lawson, as Ouellette can't believe there wasn't a flag. A second down, 3 yards to go after that, or call it 4 after that pickup by Ouellette. Back to him. Cuts it back inside and gets pulled back again. Shy of the first down. Got it just across the 45, but still
just
a few yards ago. It's getting very rough in there, in the trenches, for the Riders and the Bombers. Expect anything less on a Labor Day Classic. A one-score difference, 7-point ball game. Riders trying to hang on. A reminder, as we look at the beautiful half moon in the Sea of Tranquility. Not tranquil here. And OK Tire Labor Day weekend continues with a doubleheader. Tomorrow, Argonauts, Tiger Cats, followed by, in Calgary, tradition. The Alberta teams, the Elks, the Stampeders, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. Labor Day weekend, and a classic way to start here in a one-score game at Mosaic. The 60th Labor Day meeting between the Bombers and the Riders is not disappointed. Third and short. Tommy Stevens on, up around their 46. On this third down play to get the first down, and Stevens does. Almost automatic for number 17. The lunges ahead. The drive continues for Saskatchewan with 2.5 minutes to go.
Now you're inside the 3-minute warning. Now it's a chance for Trevor Harris to try and grind the clock. 3 or 4 first downs together should do it. And from the Bombers' perspective, not only do they have to fill the hole, make those tackles, especially on first down, but now have to try to rip the ball out, like try to tackle the football. Something that teams work on in practice.
They got a big turnover on special teams. Last time out, ended up leading to a touchdown that made it a 7-point game. Rider lead. Ouellette with the football. And doesn't get much that time, a yard or 2. It'll be a second down and long coming up here for the Riders with 2:01 on the clock in the fourth quarter.
This is
Winnipeg.
This is Cam Allen, the safety. This is what I mean about just playing the play now and trying to strip the ball in a running play. That's the safety. Should be deep in the middle against any pass threat. But he knows they're not going to pass on first down, so he's up at the line of scrimmage helping out on the tackle.
And he didn't get anything that time. This is 2nd and 10 coming up. The ball is spotted at the Saskatchewan 49. A big second down play coming up here for Trevor Harris and the Riders, and of course for that Bomber defense. Hoping to put the ball back in the hands of Zach Collaros one more time.
So Winnipeg used their timeout. They don't have another one, which means they also don't have a challenge.
Here we go. Labor Day Classic. Going to be a classic finish. Second down. Harris quickly to the right. It is caught. It's Keyshawn Johnson with Dietrich Nichols there, but Johnson has the big catch and a first down for the Riders.
Great route by Keyshawn Johnson. He runs this 2-cut like it's going to be a corner and then brings it back to the out. Timing is bang on there for Trevor Harris. It's out, it's the corner, and then it's back to the out. And watch the precision on this route from Keyshawn Johnson. The timing is there on the throw, and then he's going to come back towards the line of scrimmage right on the sideline. Big time play.
Clutch moment for Harris and the Rider offense, and Keyshawn Johnson now to the 48 of Winnipeg. First down and 10. Back in the hands of Ouellette. Puts his head down inside the 45. And that first down, running hard still, is A.J. Ouellette.
And borderline Brett Lothar field goal range if they elect to conservatively run the ball again on second down. If they don't get it, the Riders, do they send Lothar out there for the field goal attempt? I think Trevor's going to try and throw in this down.
Lothar's 1 for 1 in field goals, but missed an extra point. And on a later touchdown, the Riders went for 2, got that point back. 31-24, 2nd and 6 after that pickup by Ouellette. He is 89 on the ground. Quickly caught. No, Johnson. Nichols there. Looked like Johnson had it for the first down. Instead, the third is coming up. They're scrimmaging from the 44. Be about a 51-yarder.
That's a great play. Again, Keyshawn Johnson with precise route running, balls in his hands, but Dedrick Nichols, the veteran, 6 knockdowns coming in. That's maybe his biggest of the season to give his team a chance.
Now, Trevor Harris remains on the field. The offense is still out there, not the kicking team on this 3rd down, and 6 to go at the Winnipeg 44. Lawther stays on the sideline. Instead of going for a 51-yarder, which would effectively end the game, make it a 2-score game. Big 3rd down coming up here, and he's going to punt it. A little quick kick, and a good one it is for Harris as Nichols takes it down at the goal line and then gets tackled in the end zone.
They ruined that.
They award a safety? Romastelli coming in, they do. It's a safety, it's 2 points.
And they get the ball back.
And they get the ball back, and it's a 2-score game. A 9-point difference, how about that? Leaving the field goal unit off instead, that quick kick by Trevor Harris.
Well, Dedrick Nichols recovers it in the field of play, and then he's in on the 2-yard line and then carries the ball into the end zone and then doesn't get it out and is tackled behind that goal line.
The previous play is under review by the replay center.
Now they'll make sure, again, like the forward progress discussion we had earlier in the game, was he hit just outside of the goal line, or did he not get out?
It sure looked
what
like
they're reviewing.
Suits, it sure looked like he had possession of that ball heading into the end zone.
Oh, he did.
And
he
that
did.
would be a safety for the Riders. They are looking at it, but it sure looks like 2.
Well, no. Okay, so there's 2 things here. One is, if your momentum carries you in there as you're recovering the ball, there's a little leeway there for Dedrick Nichols on that.
So saying he doesn't necessarily go into the end zone on purpose.
Exactly. He doesn't bring it back in.
Well, then this will be interesting. 2 points, 1 point. Here's the ruling.
Upon review by the replay center, the ball carrier momentum brought him into his own goal. By rule, this is a single point.
So 1, not 2, and it's important 2 because it remains a 1-score game. It's 8-point difference. Now, and Winnipeg gets the football up at their 40. That's a big difference, not calling it a safety.
Yeah, completely changes everything, because then it was a 2-possession game, and basically game over, because the Riders were going to get the ball back and have a 2-possession lead. Now it's a 1-possession game, and Winnipeg has the football.
Crowd doesn't like it. Picking up the noise. Collaros in the offense on Winnipeg. Well, they're down 8, but they still have a chance in this Labor Day Classic. Starting at their 40, 121 on the clock. Need a touchdown and a 2-point convert. Pressure, down he goes. Sacked again. Jameer Thurman coming in. A sea of green and white to make sure Collaros can't get the ball up.
Jameer Thurman will occasionally run these stunts where he's going B-gap or even A-gap with the defensive line. And Zach Collaros, in our meeting with him this week, talked about Jameer Thurman and his ability to blitz.
2nd down, following the sack. Collaros steps up, throws it down to the left. It's incomplete. Intended for Wheatfall. Good coverage there. Marcus Sales was there. We got a 3rd and 10 coming up. 3rd and long, excuse me, about 14 yards after that sack. And this will be it coming up for Winnipeg.
Yep, just got to keep getting a new set of downs and go down the sideline. Roland Milligan was closing quickly on that ball, too.
1:07 on the clock. 3rd and 14. The Riders have sacked Collaros 5 times. and a flag for pass interference is coming out against Saskatchewan.
Now listen, there's no question to me that there's pass interference here. When I saw it live, there's a push by Jackson Ford well before the ball gets there.
Defensive pass interference, Saskatchewan number 21. The ball will be placed where the infraction occurred and a first down.
But I'll tell you what, number 10 did a real good job of slowing down on that route to create that contact. It's not, I mean, he didn't dive. It wasn't anything like that. It was just...
The ball will be placed at the 17-yard line.
It's point of foul, so it's where the foul occurred. It would be the 17-yard line. But you saw the subtlety from Dembski. He slows down on that deep route. The contact is created. And the penalty flag comes out.
Just when we think this classic won't come down in the final few seconds, it does. 58 seconds, under a minute. Bombers trailing by 8. They need to get to the end zone. Collaros picks it up and throws it to Oliveira underneath. He gets it down inside the 10. Close to another first down.
Yeah, lots of time here for Collaros to run these type of plays in the hand of a playmaker inside the 10.
Gets down to the 8. A 2nd and 1. 48 seconds. Here we go. And the short yardage carry. It'll be a 1st and goal coming up here for Winnipeg.
Now, Bombers need the major and the 2-point convert. They got 3 cracks in time to get 3 plays in inside the 10.
A year ago, the Riders were down 8. Got the touchdown, didn't get the 2, but got an onside kick and tried to get a winning field goal, but it came up short. Collaros again, 1st and goal! Touchdown, Winnipeg! And look who it is! Welcome back, Dalton Schoen. The Bombers are saying now, miss 6 weeks, get 6 points, 2 points away from tying this game.
Spatial awareness from Dalton Schoen. Where's the hole? I found it. Will my quarterback find me in the clutch? Absolutely. Milligan's got to be careful for any deep route behind him. That's why he's playing off. It's down to this.
Labor Day Classic finish. Again, 2-point difference. 30 seconds left. Just like a year ago. It's the other way around this time. The Bombers trying to tie it. Dramatic 2-point try. Collaros. Intercepted. Tavon Campbell. He can score 2 for the Riders if he takes it all the way, and he will. They denied the 2. They'll score the 2. Campbell gets to the end zone, and we got a 4-point game. The Riders lead with 30 seconds to go.
Tavon Campbell can fly. His closing speed is what makes him such a great DB. He closes on this. Zach Collaros thought he had an open receiver. That space disappeared in a split second, and look at him go. He is not getting caught from behind.
All the way back to the end zone to score 2 for Saskatchewan and make it a 4-point game. Another look here.
I don't think it was the wrong guy to throw to. He just underestimated the speed and the closing ability of Tavon Campbell.
And a year ago, when the Riders went for 2 and didn't get it, you see Collaros in pursuit, but to no avail. The Riders tried an onside kick with just seconds to go, and they succeeded in getting the ball. The difference being they were down 2 and had a chance to kick a field goal. And Mike O'Shea just sure can't believe it after how close the Bombers came. Now they need an onside. They need the onside kick. And they'll still need a touchdown. A field goal's no good, of course, because of the return by Campbell to add 2 points to the Rider lead. Castile lining up. Hands team on. Winnipeg's got to get the ball back with a half minute to go. Castile puts it up. Whistle blows beforehand.
Prior to the ball being kicked, Saskatchewan called timeout.
Get a quick look. You got the timeout anyway. Get a quick look at what the formation was going to do in the cover team. That's what Corey Mace was doing there. And then he wants that front line to get in the way of the cover unit for the Bombers and allow a clear area for Keyshawn Johnson to make the recovery. But he wanted to know if Castile was going to switch his approach and maybe go to the backside, to the two-man side on the backside of the onside kick team.
Kent Bajiri, the special teams coordinator for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and some instructions.
There's Keyshawn Johnson down at the bottom. Mike Miller, special teams coordinator. There he is right there. That's Keyshawn. These guys have got to keep any cover man off of it.
Here we go. Steele putting it up. It's caught. It hits the turf, and it looks like the Bombers may have a shot at it here. Who gets it this time? Looked at first like it was caught, but it came out. This is like a schoolyard as they try to sort this out. Whose ball is it anyway?
Mike Miller.
Andre Cruz says it's Rider ball.
Special teams coordinator Mike Miller anticipated the timeout and doesn't go to the outside kick. It's just a shorter kick closer to the interior. It's Milligan that takes it first, then he drops it. Clearly a fumble. Castile has a chance at it. It pops out. Then the fight is on. I know Jackson Ford, who had the PI call, was going crazy to try and get it out of there.
They were that close to getting this. Just like the Riders did on an onside kick a year ago in the same situation.
See,
that close.
I'm not sure, Rod, that ball would have gone 10 yards had it not been touched. But Milligan jumps up, and as long as he touches it, then it's a live ball.
And the Bombers can recover.
Exactly.
What a game. What a finish. Finally coming to a close. Victory formation for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And these two teams will do it all again in a week over in Winnipeg.
Cue up the Banjo Bowl at Princess Auto Stadium 6 days from now in Winnipeg. And these two will meet again as per tradition. But when you talk about Labor Day Classics, they certainly upheld the tradition in this one, didn't they? Clock ticking down. A labor-intensive game to be sure, and a classic, but the day belongs to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They hung on as they'll run one more play and beat the rival Winnipeg Blue Bombers dramatically. What else would you expect?
That's what Canadian football is all about, and once again the players delivered. Right down to the wire. Tavon Campbell on a two-point convert takes it to the house.
A big 2 points, not only for Campbell and the Riders on the day, but in the standings as well. With Calgary playing Edmonton tomorrow, Saskatchewan and Harris improves to 9-2. There you go. The sign is made. A sign of what's to come? We'll see. Next week, these two teams do it all again. Can't do it much better than this. Once again, a Labor Day Classic lives up to the name. And and it's the second time in 3 years the Riders have won it this time. We're just getting started. 2 more tomorrow. Argos, Ticats in Hamilton, Elks, Stampeders at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. First 2 touchdowns of the career of Mario Anderson. As the Riders grind it out. Thanks for watching this Labor Day Classic. SportsCenter is next. Have a great night, everybody.